Is Nai Cafe a thing?
I mean,
Nai Cha is a thing.
yeah, because it's tea with milk, so
Nai Cafe. Yeah.
would be coffee with.
I'm just wondering.
They haven't taught us that specifically, but I assume it would work the same way.
Nai Cafe. It makes sense that it would, but assuming, yeah. It's over, Paul. It's finally over. The harvest? Congrats, Naughty Priest. You survived. You should celebrate with us tonight by watching the Tournament of Terror, Mr. Naughty Priest. That was a good way to kick your boots up. Celebrate that you made it through the, I can't remember what, soybeans? Corn. There's probably another one that you had to do. You did it. You made it. And I appreciate them soybeans and that corn too. I'll be eating some of that, I guarantee you.
We haven't had a good oven roasted corn on the cob in a hot minute, huh?
You don't really oven roast a corn on the cob. You boil it, right? Or grill it.
Well, like the one recipe I had is what I made corn. It was just
I guess you could, yeah, if you put it in the ear still. Is that how they have you oven it? No?
It's probably not the best way to do it, but
I've never had it that way. I wouldn't.
You have.
Oh, have I?
Yeah.
Oh.
One of the recipes I made when we were doing.
Oh, you oven roasted them. Oh, there you go. I celebrated last night. Now my head hurts. You know. That'll happen, dude. That'll happen. But you know what? It's worth. I'm a bully. I talk shit. You're overrated and toxic.
You just dropped a new album.
I know. I've been listening to it a little bit.
Oh,
I like her, yeah.
Is there one that stands out on the new one?
There was... Fuck, what's it called? I only listened to it once, but I was like, this is good. There was a video to it. I can't remember.
So the ones that have videos are Little Piggy.
Little Piggy is the one that I watched, yeah.
That was the last music video she dropped before the album.
Yeah. That's the one that I saw. That's the video that I saw. I listened to a couple more tracks on it, but
like Yapper. That one's kind of fun.
Yapper? Yeah. I haven't heard it yet. I'll have to check it out. Started Duolingo for Spanish. Cool. Yeah, that's a good Duolingo's good, man. I like it a lot. I've been kicking my feet up on it, just doing my 1 or 2 lessons a day for a couple weeks. But
you've also been like reviewing too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, there's no deadline.
No, it's not like you're. But yesterday was my 50-day streak. Mm-hmm. So I've got 50 days under my belt of doing at least a lesson or 2 a day.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's got a different speed.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel the need to, like, rush it. Love the shirt. I know, dude. This shirt is badass.
Another one you wish that you knew the company offhand. The print's so good.
Yeah, the print is really good on it. And, yeah. The artist is... I don't remember where I think I got...
Another Facebook ad.
Yeah, it was an impulse buy off of Facebook. My 2 favorite shirts that I've got, right? This one and then my Paranoid Android shirt were both Facebook purchases. Yo soy mujer. Yeah.
There's probably a way to go back in Facebook and see which ads you clicked or whatever.
Maybe. There's probably like... I don't know. Yeah. Who knows?
I feel like that'd be faster than trying to find the fucking thing in your bank
Yeah.
from that many years ago.
Yep. My cat curled up in my pants and fell asleep while I pooped. That sounds like kitty business.
Yeah. I don't know. We mostly keep the pets out during that stuff.
Well, yeah, because, well, Dinor isn't really all that interested, but Cricket wants to know what's going on in there.
But he'll get into all kinds of trouble. He'll hop onto the counter and knock shit over.
Yep. Bruh, are you high? Not yet. No, not yet. Heavy emphasis on the yet, though. You got 50,000 new followers in a week, and not a single one of them has gold teeth.
Rich, so rob you.
Damn. Don't mess around with Alice. Our cat runs across our pillows when the sun barely comes up. Yeah.
Yeah, Kitty's kicked out of the bedroom, too.
Yep. Yeah. He's not allowed in the bedroom. He's not allowed in the bathroom. Yeah.
We're not trying to be mean. He's a little terror.
No, he is. He will literally wake you up at the butt crack of dawn every single day, and then let you go back to sleep, and then wake you up again. Cats get this like little idiosyncrasy where they think they want to make sure you're alive because they don't sleep like for 17 hours straight. You know what I mean? Like they take cat naps. That's why it's called a cat nap. They'll sleep for an hour and then they're up, and they don't know that they aren't you, right? Like that's
like Cricket. He has the face poke thing that he was doing when we were letting him in there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, cat like I remember reading something about this. It's like dogs, cats, like these domesticated animals that we keep at home. The presumption that we make about them and their the way that they perceive us is that they think we're just a weird cat, or they think that they are a weird human. So when you sleep for 8 hours straight, Kitty gets worried. Kitty's like, "Why are you still laying down, man? You okay?" You know what I mean?
But we can tell Cricket likes just being shut in his own room at night. That was the problem. Like, you can't just always shut out the animal. You have to, like, put them in their own space so they feel okay.
Well, for cats, specifically, yeah. Cricket likes his little. He has a little room. Well, it's Amelia's little office room / his room, and that's where he goes at night or during the day when he's just feeling like he wants to get his own little spot. Can cat eat sausages? Can they? Yeah.
I mean, garlic and onion is not good. So
No.
I can't have that.
No. But they can. They can eat meat.
Probably not best to do sausage in particular, maybe.
Probably not. Just became an audiobook narrator at $35 an hour. Don't give up on your dreams. Oh, cool. Audiobook narration is cool.
Still good and stocked.
Burning through these pre-rolls, though.
What do you think? Another week before we gotta restock?
No, there's... Because he brought a bunch of, like, just, like, loose flour in there, too. Yeah, go get your weed purchasing done. For the tournament of terror waits for no man. Tournament of terror is going to be wild today, dude.
Yeah. It was 100% full focused yesterday.
It was bullshit. There was just all kinds of shit that had to be figured out. Different ideas. That's the worst part about working with a crew of people. Like, you got partners, right? The best part of that is that you diffuse responsibility and you add value with partners, right? That's the idea, which is true. But having to come to three-way consensus on every fucking little thing, having to jockey to make your vision for this, that, or the other thing happen the way that you think it should, is not my favorite part of working with people. You know, but that's the point of it, right? Is to temper, you get into a partnership with somebody who hopefully will temper your instinct with theirs and vice versa. Pinhead's taking this one the fuck out. I'm calling it now. Well, maybe he might. Pinhead is the champion from last year, so he's not participating in any of the bracket fights.
It comes down to them rolls and who his challenger is at the end.
Yep. But one of the rolls doesn't even get to happen. Because Pinhead is the champion, he gets home field advantage. So they have to go to the labyrinth to beat him. They've got to go to the Lord of the Labyrinth. So he's got, you know, just like you would expect in a wrestling thing, you know, the people that want a shot at the title have got to all fight each other before they can challenge the big dog.
There's a twist so big that even Paul doesn't know about it.
Yeah. There is a twist that is so can be so game changing. We know what the twist is. Everybody will know what the twist is, but where will it present? How many challengers? 24. 24 challengers, double elimination. We did the math. And we are going to do between 46 and 48 battles tonight.
So it might be way longer than 6 hours, depending.
It might be. I really honestly do not know. There's no rushing it. You know.
Like, some of them, obviously, it's going to be so clear that you're just like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, we give each one its due diligence, but some of them are just apparent right out the rush.
That's the real thing that extends it, is the debate.
Yeah. Patrons only? Nope. We're going to be doing it live for everybody. It's a holiday episode, and that's pretty much usually what we do. But after it's done, it disappears from the plebs. So if you don't catch it live or you miss it out, sucks to be you, man. Some battles take 30 minutes. Yeah, I know. Some battles are complex and somebody's, you know, you've got what you believe to be true riding on the line and somebody else disagrees, and it creates a whole kind of like, I love the process. Like I told you guys, this is my favorite piece of content that we make. It's not one that you could do every day, right? Because I would get burnt on it. The fact that it only comes around once a year I love this piece of content. It is just like an invitation for me to pretend that I'm 5 again and chilling with my buddies out in the backyard talking about which Ninja Turtle could beat up which Ninja Turtle, right? It's literally that. It's that childish, like, Superman could beat up Batman shit, but with a bunch of, like, adult themed rules added to it, right? It's awesome. I'm not telling you. See, that's the thing, is I can't speculate on anything publicly with you guys in terms of the combatants and who I think has a good chance against who, because you guys don't get to even know who's in it
till tonight. 6 p.m. Eastern.
6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific is when you get to find out who even is battling, let alone 24. I will tell you this, there's a good mix of, like, returning people who want another shot. There's a good mix of people brand new to the tournament that, you know, are stepping up for another shot, for their own first shot. And then there are 3 or 4, I would say, in there that when it comes time for them to fight, you're going to be scratching your head going, like, what are they even doing in here? Can they even step up, right? I love it. I love it.
You guys missed a very cute nature moment yesterday.
What?
Oh, the chipmunk thing. Chipmunk were eating Dino
Oh,
yesterday.
yeah, dude. I don't know. I think it was a squirrel, but yeah, dude. Dinor chased a big male squirrel off yesterday, and as he was running away, he was screaming. He was like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," right? And then he went up and perched up in the tree, and Dinor was sitting down here, and that fucking squirrel read him the riot act, bro.
For like 5 minutes
Yep.
straight, just.
Dinor was just like, yeah, he was pissed, dude. I've never seen a squirrel that mad. That squirrel was spitting booty chatter. Yeah, no discussing the rosters. No, will Chucky be there? No, is this guy there? Is that guy there? You just have to wait. You're just going to have to wonder. Squirrels make cool pets. I've never had a squirrel, but I can imagine they'd be pretty cool little pets.
I don't think they're allowed to be pets in a lot of places.
I don't think they can stop you from having a squirrel as a pet.
Well, like, if you just have it in your apartment and it's someone, they're gonna fucking...
Well, yeah, I mean...
But yeah, if you got your own house or whatever, and it ain't bugging no one, they probably ain't gonna find out.
I feel like they would tear your curtains up and be crazy in your house. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have them in the house for them to be a pet, you know? Like, a lot of people, I think what they end up doing is they get a little relationship with a wild squirrel. Mm-hmm. Where it's like they feed it, and then it'll come and sit on them and stuff, but it goes about its own business, and they go about theirs,
right?
Right?
Build it a little house or something.
Yeah. By the way, when TJ asked, what do you have during that exotic animal segment? That was the only exotic I had at that time. Oh. A squirrel. A squirrel. All right. The skibs are here. Watch this, dude. Avada Kedavra, bro. Boom. Now the skibs are all gone. Look at that. Poof. No more vomiting up the first dumb thing that comes to your mind. Now your ass has to sit down and be quiet and wait a minute to say what you're going to say. And And give me that subscription too. This is what happens. You abuse the privilege of an open chat. Papa Paul's got to lock it down. It's just the way it works. Come in here and abusing with your skibbity bullshit. You will behave like adults in here. You will behave like you had a mama. Like you weren't mixed up in a test tube somewhere. Okay? I will enforce it. Even if nobody else enforces it, I will. Okay? Everybody else in your life lets you be 12. I'm going to demand that you're 20 something. Are y'all going to cover some of Trump on Rogan next regular show? I watched an hour of it last night as I was falling asleep. It is two things. Number one, the most retarded glaze sesh. It's exactly what I said it would be. Because people were like, what do you think? Do you think Rogan gets him on there? Blah, blah, blah. And then what, you think he's going to like G-check him? And I was like, no, Rogan is going to glaze him.
When does
top
Rogan
to bottom
check any of his
he does.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes he'll get on a fucking, if it's a guest that he feels like he's on the same level with or whatever, he'll get in a fight. He'll get in an argument with him.
But it's not
anybody thinking that Joe Rogan was coming out for Daddy Trump is absurd. So it was nonstop glaze, and it was boring. Oh my God, so fucking inscrutably boring. So I'm not gonna say no, because if one of the other guys pulls it, we'll go over it and maybe watch something. But dude, I don't know. I couldn't pull a highlight from the first hour of it. I couldn't tell you what the highlight of it is. Maybe Joe Rogan talking about how Republicans are the new punk rock. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the most boring, torturous thing you've had to watch on the show?
The most boring and torturous?
Yeah, like is the Andrew Tate gauntlet up there?
Yeah, it's up there. Boring was only one of the problems with that, though. It was boring and just unconscionably stupid, and he's one note. Mm-hmm. And so, like, even if he's talking about a different subject, he's saying the same things. Yeah. He's one note. And so that was tough, yeah. And that was 6 hours worth of fucking pure, unadulterated suffering. So, yeah, I would say Andrew Tate. Having to watch 6 hours worth of Andrew Tate was the toughest, most boringest thing, dude. Dude, Trump was super low energy in the interview. Trump is like, he's sleepy, peepaw Trump, sleepy Trump, right? And Joe is just filled with this energy, but it's like boner energy. You know what I mean? It's not like, I want to make a good show energy. It is, holy fuck, how do I glaze this guy 6 ways from Sunday energy? It's just fucking sad,
so is
bro.
It like the same energy when he had Alex Jones on, or no?
No. Him and Alex Jones actually had a kind of a funny rapport.
Yeah.
Like, because I think Alex Jones, say what you want about the guy, I think he's more relatable as a person. And I think that Joe, being a giant podcaster who pulls more viewers than Alex did at the time, right? I mean, Joe's bigger than Alex. Yeah. So I think that allows Joe to have a good rapport with somebody. But when Joe is talking up, it's kowtow. Yeah. Yeah, Jones had some good chaotic energy. He was willing to say things that were wild and entertaining. He was willing to invite Joe to ask the crazy questions and stuff. Trump was just half asleep. So it was literally just like Joe Rogan carrying the entire show, which is not usually what happens. Joe usually lets the guest carry.
Yeah. It's like, it's different. It's a different kind of kowtow. Mm-hmm. So it's basically just Rogan being like, you're pretty awesome, you know?
Yeah, let me glaze you and ask you a question that is really me just teeing up a glaze. Yeah. It's like, what do you think about the the censorship in the media and stuff. Oh, it's terrible, Joe. It's terrible. They go after political opponents. Yeah, I have to tell you something, Mr. Trump. You are the most poorly treated candidate by the media in history. The way that they came after you and the way that they continue to come after you is mind-blowing. I know it, Joe. I know it. I know it. It's like, I saw this thing, Mr. Trump. I saw this thing, Mr. Trump, and I wanted to show it, Mr. Trump, but I didn't want to, have them give them a way to take the show down with copyright stuff. But when you went on The View in 2015, everybody gave you a hug and a kiss. Whoopi hugged you. Joy Behar hugged you. All of them hugged you and talked about what a good friend you were. And then the orders came down from the DNC, and all of a sudden you were the worst person that ever existed. Oh, I know it, Joe. I know it. I know it.
I'm surprised you didn't call him Mr. President.
Well, I mean, I think he was calling him Mr. President.
Yeah.
I was just trying to do a fucking... It was wild, bro. It was wild, boring. It's like the world's slowest, most boring blowjob that you ever saw. Yep. More glazing than a Krispy Kreme morning shift worker, bro.
Did he at least have his dentures secure, unlike that Elon Musk interview?
He didn't talk enough to know.
Yeah.
Literally, like, it was mostly Joe teeing it up. No, that's not true, because Trump did ramble, but it's just, yeah, I wasn't really watching visually. I was listening while I was trying to go to sleep.
Well, I mean, like, remember that Elon thing? It sounded like dentures were loose.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that. He had his dentures secured.
Yeah. He probably got super duper Polydent X or something after that.
Maybe. I wish Joe would have at least blazed a blunt with Trump. That would have been cool.
But that would have been like...
Dude, if Trump smoked weed with Joe Rogan, he would have just won.
Yeah.
But Trump doesn't do drugs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday. Like, you don't disbelieve that he's straight edge.
No, I don't.
Because everyone would have said something.
Yeah, the stories about Donald Trump, none of them ever include Donald Trump was on a wild bender last night and was seen at this restaurant making a fuss. That's never happened. You won't find those stories because it's pretty well known. And people that know him will talk about him that don't necessarily have a political agenda. They're just talking about him because they've had dealings with him. Will tell you he's straight edge. He's a teetotaler. He doesn't touch alcohol. He doesn't touch cigarettes.
Cocaine.
As far as we know, I could see maybe Trump back in the day doing a little coke here and there and stuff, but
he has so much exposure that it feels like...
Well, he's got a story that I believe. His brother died of alcoholism and was in and out of like trouble and stuff. Mm-hmm. And when he talks about drug use, he talks about his brother. And I believe that. I think that that's a little human spark in Trump. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, I watched my brother destroy himself with these substances, so I stay the fuck away from them. Mm-hmm. Makes sense to me. Kyle Kalinske thinks he's on speed or Adderall. Well, see, that's different, right?
That's not in his mind drugs.
Right. And it, you're prescribed something, right? Now, I think that Trump might have had like a caffeine problem, right? I remember there was a thing where he had a bunch of like Diet Cokes and like caffeine pills or something in his desk during some interview back in the 90s or something. So yeah, I mean, Trump might be, chasing the fucking caffeine dragon, and you can fuck yourself way up on caffeine. And I can imagine to get him hyped up enough to go do a good showing or whatever, yeah, they probably pump Grandpa full of some fucking stimulants and shit, right? To me, that's different than running around, like Trump going home, kicking his feet up and smoking a joint.
Or doing a rail of coke or whatever.
Or yeah, like Trump, I want to have a good time tonight. Just let me, you know what I mean?
Alex Jones, you can tell, 100% on coke.
I don't know about coke, but maybe some kind of stimulant, yeah.
I remember in that Joe Rogan thing, he like kept getting up to pee like 50 times or whatever.
Yeah.
Pee.
Yeah. Kyle did talk about the White House pharmacy records with pill distribution being pretty high. Yeah. I don't deny. Look, dude, I'm 44 and out of shape. And I'm on 4 different medications to regulate my blood pressure and my heart and all of that shit, right? I'm on 4 separate things. Trump's 80 and in shitty shape. So I have to imagine he's probably got a long list of shit he's taking. Yeah. People have said that, like Trump, people are worried about Trump because he will drink nothing but Diet Coke all day. From sun up to sundown, all he ever wants to have near him to sip on is Diet Coke. And that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Can I see your watch? Yeah, it's my beater. It's a Casio databank.
Are you gonna do some calculations on it during
I
the
could,
show?
dude. Boop, 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 boop. No, this is a Casio databank. It's the same color as the one that Marty wears in Back to the Future, but I got the black on white LED, which is, I like it better. But you can't see it at all at night, which kind of sucks. If you don't have light, you can't see it. But when you do have light, it looks neat to me. So, but yeah, this is my wear it. Well, I wear it on days when I'm not planning on doing it. I just like the way it looks. I just think it's cool.
It's comfy.
This is one of my most comfy watches, too. Super light. It's not something you think about, but like...
Well, I think it makes sense. I wouldn't necessarily say you're doing like crazy stuff today, but you're going to be gesticulating a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, if I wanted to wear a watch and I was worried about... Because like this thing is $25, right? It's not... I'm not saying that I would throw $25 away. I'm just saying that, like, if I break this and have to replace it, it's not taking a giant chunk out of my ass. Versus, you know what I mean, if I were wearing my Zarek and shattered that. Because, like, that's the one, the Zarek watch that I have is the one that I cannot fuck up ever. Because I'd have to order custom cut sapphire to replace the sapphire glass on it. Is it waterproof? No watch is waterproof. Yeah. Yeah, no watch is waterproof. It's water resistant up to 5 meters. I wouldn't swim in it if I were you. They make certain watches that are ostensibly waterproof. Like the next watch that I want to buy is a dive watch that has 300 meters of water resistance. Right. I'll never take it down 300 meters, but it's cool to know that I've got a really nice watch that if I wanted to swim in it, go for it, bud. I wouldn't do that in any of my watches right now. Might be a beater, but it's your coolest watch in my opinion. Hey, there you go. Beater is not a negative. It just means it's a watch that is replaceable or tough. Well, they used to advertise things as waterproof, Phoebes. Even in the watch world, they used to use the term waterproof. Right, for these rubber sealed watches that were meant to be water resistant, and now they can't do it. Right, they're just they would run afoul of every fucking, regulatory agency in the West. Yep. Waterproof this, waterproof that. They G-checked that. The government G-checked that a long time ago. It can be opened. It's not waterproof. Yeah, exactly. Right? It's not hermetically sealed is what they would call that, right? It is something that was assembled in a factory. Therefore, it has seals and gaps. And if it has seals and gaps, water will get in it. Well, I genuinely respect your down-to-earthiness. Your content helps me relax because you aren't putting on some crazy persona. You're just yourself. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it's not going to carry me to millions and millions of dollars, but I do know that there are people out there that appreciate it, because the other end of the coin that you're talking about there is like everybody's just try-harding so hard, man. And it doesn't even feel like a conversation most of the time. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the tourney tonight. It'll be fun, man. I really, really try hard to bring that chillness to my streams. Well, you're doing it wrong, Phoebes. You shouldn't be trying at all. True chillness is effortless. No, I'm kidding. I know what you mean. The vibe. You're enforcing the vibe, which is cool. I think you have to do that. Yeah, the autopilot shit will go the same way as waterproof at some point. You're absolutely right about that. I'm gonna have monster movies playing in the background. You have to, bro. You set the mood, get spooky with it. Yeah, I'm a Stephen King fan. Thanks for getting me out of neatdom, Paul. Oh shit. X-neat. X-neat. Some of these streamers and online people just seem like they aren't authentic or real at all. Yeah. For me, there's a difference between this and my other content too, right? It's like you're going to get a different shade of me, probably a more performative shade of me when I'm on my other show, most of the time. But one of the things I've always valued about the show that I'm on is that realness has a place there. Like, we try and make things funny. We try and make things hype. We're trying to give you guys, a show, right? But realness has a place in our show. And when I do these, I don't see any point in doing much performative stuff at all, right? I might do it. I might, I get going on a bit. But I'm really not trying to be like, hey guys, what up? Like and subscribe, thumbs up. Make sure you drop a like, hit the bell as well. That shit is off-putting to me in the extreme. I'm a bully. I talk shit. You're overrated and toxic. Afternoon, Paul. Hope your day is going good, man. Dude, today can only go good because today is Tournament of Terror Day, dude. It's Paul's favorite day of the year. I miss the YouTube vlog days where you click play and aren't barraged by 2 minutes of 10 cup rattling. Yeah, I know, dude. Now they sneak it in. Now they'll be like, on October 31st, a man with a plan snuck into a house at 72 Marker Street in Miami-Dade County. Sleeping inside was his girlfriend. Blah, blah, blah. And you'll be like, all right, yeah. Before we get into the details, let us take a few moments to talk about your internet privacy. NordVPN. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, you fuckers. They're sneaking them in there now. You know what I mean? They don't put it right at the beginning, so you can't just skip it. Watched the original Dawn of the Dead last night. It's pretty good, huh? I like it. Always appreciate the way you guys are able to cover serious stuff while still keeping it mostly a comedy show. It's tough. I'm glad you appreciate it. What's the coolest thing you made for food when you got the munchies? I made deep fried double bacon burger one time, ghost pepper cheese. Jesus Christ, bro. Yeah, man, the munchies. I mean, what did I do? I've just, like the mix and match stuff, it's just like typically stoner stuff for me. Like I'm not the stoner type that's gonna like, all right, let me concoct something. I'm gonna throw all this stuff together, make a big ass meal. I'll just like grab a bunch of shit that doesn't go together and eat it. You know what I mean? Like I don't like pickles. I remember one time I had the munchies and I grabbed turkey, like you know what I mean, the deli turkey breast, lunch meat, and I wrapped that around pickle spears. And I ate like half a jar of pickles, and I don't even like pickles. So that's one. It's not exactly weird. You know what I mean? It's not like some weird concoction, but I ate the shit out of it. You know what I mean? And I definitely wouldn't sit down to a meal of turkey wrapped pickles. Time I ate a whole jar of honey in one sitting. Damn. I will tell you this, dude. I got high one time and I ate a whole thing of Oreos. Not one row, but all 3 rows. A whole thing. All 3 rows, bro. In one sitting. Not like in an hour. I sat there all day and that's all I ate. Sat there all day just dunking Oreos in milk. Right? And so the next day, I pooped. And I turned around to flush. And dude, my poop was black. Not darker than usual. Straight up black. And I freaked out, bro. Because I know that like blood turns black. And I thought I just crapped out a bunch of blood. I'm like, I'm internally bleeding. I've got colon cancer. I'm fucked. Right? And I was sitting there like examining, like not poking at it, but I was looking at this turd like, what could this be? And then all of a sudden, in my stoner brain clicked, and they were like, dude, you ate nothing but Oreos yesterday. You ate a whole thing. That's just Oreo color coming out of your asshole. And there you go. Yeah. I used to do like when I was stoned, I used to do the rolls a lot. So I would get like a slice of American cheese and then like some turkey meat and some pepperoni, roll it up into just a thing and just like use the cheese as a little tortilla. You know what I'm talking about? I used to do that a lot back in the hard days, you know what I mean? The sad thing about it now is that I'm not rich, but I've got enough money to where if I get the munchies in the middle of the night, I just DoorDash some fucking ice cream or something, I'm just like, bring me fucking French fries. Well, I used to do hot Cheetos in the roll. So you throw so what you do is you take your turkey, right? You throw down some hot Cheetos, right? Well, first you lay down your cheese, then you lay down your turkey, then you throw down some hot Cheetos, then you make like a little cheese taco. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. You threw up black and white vomit. Well, It's the same color coming out the other way, I guess. Yeah, DoorDash sucks, bro. I really do. Like, when I move out of here, I've kind of made a promise to myself that DoorDash is over, bro. I'm looking to move to a smaller place anyway. Like a place where, you know, like the place I live in now is fucking insane. It's a huge city. I'm looking to move to a small town. Just makes it pointless to DoorDash. Just get in your car and go 5 minutes to the fucking place. And you're gonna save like 20 bucks every time you do that. It's retarded. You should get a Thai cookbook. I've got a really good cookbook that's a vegetarian cookbook from a restaurant back east called Moosewood. They have, it's like a Bible, bro. It's like a just crazy vegetarian meals, and some of the best stuff that I've had has come out of that book. So we're covered on that. Like, I don't need any, because it's filled with all kinds of, like, it's crazy. The best thing that come out of that is Amelia does a vegetarian lasagna where the meat replacement is artichoke hearts. It's so fucking good. It's like the thing that you would expect to be lumps of sausage or whatever, right, in the lasagna, are artichoke hearts. It's so fucking good. Oh, I bet, yeah. Yeah. Old cookbooks are dope. What's the book called? You can look it up. It's the Moosewood Restaurant cookbook, and it's thick. It's like, oh shit, vintage cookbook collector. I want to live in a small town, work as a nurse, and live out the rest of my life in peace. Cool. I'll go get it. Vegetarian Epicure is an old good cookbook too. Yeah. Well, the Moosewood one is like our favorite cookbook because she can just pull shit out of there, right? And we try it, and pretty much every time we try it, we find another recipe that we really like. But I'm in love with that lasagna recipe. It's just so good. No meat in it, but it's really filling and like satisfying to eat. And it's just really good, man. But yeah, now I'm over a year. I'm over a year minus 1 day, right? Um, without having any meat, which is kind of crazy for me. Fireworks were crazy on stream last night, dude. Total movie moment. You know what I mean? I couldn't have. It couldn't have been accidentally framed better. It was just like if my phone had been like over here, you guys wouldn't have seen shit. You would have seen some of it over here. If my phone had been over there, you guys would have seen stuff over there. It just happened to be like right there where the open sky, and that happened to be right where. It was just crazy, bro. I'm surprised nobody's clipped it yet. I told people to clip that shit, dude. That type of shit just, you know, people would like that. Mia Khalifa recently says she hopes U.S. soldiers get PTSD. I don't care. I don't care. Mia Khalifa is a chick who sucked dick for a living. That's how she got known. I'm not trying to undermine sex workers, but why would her saying something stupid be of any interest to me? I'm too weak-willed to give up on meat. I'm a carnivore at heart. Oh, there you go. Yep. There's a couple of different egg, like lasagna recipes and stuff, but it's really good. Mia Khalifa said something dumb. Mia Khalifa said something dumb. How about this? I hope Mia Khalifa has PTSD from her sex work. There you go. Roasted. What culture fascinates you, Paul? All culture. Human culture. I love culture, right? I love human culture, but I love culture clash. Like non-violent culture clash, or the overarching culture clash with the violence mixed in. Like I love what happens to culture when two people are sandwiched together. I think that's cool. Are there cultures you dislike? Well, there are things about probably any culture that I dislike, right? American culture, I hate how we worship the dollar. I hate advertising. I hate how psychological manipulation is legal and widespread. And, there's a lot of stuff I hate about, what you'd call American culture or Western culture, right? But I appreciate a lot of things about it too. I think all cultures are that way, right? It's like, a hot spot right now, Middle East, right? I hate the repressive authoritarianism and religious dogma that's kind of shoved down the throats of people in a lot of these Middle Eastern areas. Beirut and or Lebanon and Iran are kind of like the hot spots right now. I hate that the people that live there live under authoritarian religious regimes. I hate that there are thought crimes there. I hate that people don't have a baseline, um, you know, uh, group of civil rights there, right? I really hate that about those cultures. But the architecture, right? The music, the humor, the people, right? I don't find fault with them. It's the culture, right? There are aspects of pretty much every culture that you can point to and say, like, look how destructive, look how gross, look how exclusionary, right? Yes. I've said that a million times. I don't know, maybe you haven't heard me say it, but that's a standard Paul's ego line, is that cultures cry out to be experienced. Like that's the whole point of their existence, right? And I always use the example. This is one example, but I think it's a fruitful one. The bindi, right? A bindi is a little glued on jewel here in the middle of your forehead, right? You don't see people wearing them a whole lot. They fell out of fashion. But during the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of women and girls were starting to experiment with the bindi, right? And there were people, even all the way back then, saying, hey, you white women running around wearing a sari, which is an Indian traditional dress, and a bindi, you white people or people, non Indian people, doesn't matter, right? Wearing that stuff, you're really appropriating that culture, right? You can't do that. The truth about it is that if you go to a place where the sari is worn and where the bindi is worn, women who wear those things there love when people from outside of their culture, women from outside of their culture come there. They love to help you put on your bindi, wear the sari, show you how to fit the sari, help you find one that fits you. They love it, just cries out to be shared and adopted. Please use this, do this. Here's our food. It's like, you know, the cultural appropriation argument. Is it appropriative if I, as a white person, eat Indian food and appreciate the fuck out of it? Is it appropriative that if I, as a lily white European person, love Mexican food, love Central and South American food, and enjoy authentic versions of that pretty often, right? Is that appropriative, or is that me celebrating and rewarding an aspect of culture that I really find interesting and worthwhile? Right? Same thing with that. Same thing with kimonos. Same thing with, like, I mean, any kind of like cultural standard dress. I can only think of just like maybe a few examples on the planet, theoretically, where people wouldn't be happy to help you find one and help you fit one and show you how to wear one, show you how it's used, right? It's just so much part. It's like, okay, when you go to India, for example, and let's say that you wanted to visit a Hindu temple in India, a lot of those temples require that you have a standard head covering. Now, you don't have to use a turban. No, it's not Hindu, it's Sikh. I'm sorry, that requires a head covering. You don't have to wear a turban. But outside of these temples are tons of little shops that will help you hook up a turban. Right? So this idea that me as a white person putting a turban on my head is appropriative is ridiculous. The cultures that created most, and I said not all, but most of these cultural kind of dress traditions, love it when people from other cultures come there to experience it and adopt some of it and take them back home with them. Culture wants to be spread. It's like the way that human beings say, hey, look at me. This is where I live. This is the food I ate when I was a kid. This is the way that people dress where I'm from. Take it. Look at us and take it. That's what culture is, right? Culture is not this like in-group where it's like, we're the only ones that get to wear the bindi. We're the only ones that get to wear, the kimono. And it just isn't that way within the cultures where those things were created. So where is this reaction coming from? Who are you protecting? Not those people. Those people would be pissed off if Americans started coming to their country, right? An abject refusing on principle to take part in any of the culture. They would stop wanting us to come. They'd be like, why do you come here? You're not interested in touching what we have, tasting what we have, wearing the things that we're trying to give you? Then why come? But somehow, thousands of miles away here in America in the West, people are offended about that shit.
I think, in general, getting offended on behalf of others is weird.
Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. I can't even fathom it. Like, I can empathize with why it would be offensive if I were to show up here with fake war paint on and a fake feathered headdress and go, whoa, 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 you know what I mean, and do that. I can empathize with why that would be offensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I myself probably wouldn't watch somebody that was routinely doing that out of that empathy. So I can understand that. But there's a huge gulf of difference between me putting on red face and pretending to be an Indian versus, or pretending to be a Native American versus wearing a bindi, wearing a sari.
Yeah.
Those parts of the, like, Indians aren't out there for the most part saying, wear our feathered headdresses and our fucking buffalo skin leggings and dance around the fire. They're not.
Yeah, there's a difference between, like, religious, spiritual things.
Right.
And clothes.
Right. Exactly. And there's a difference between wearing something because it's fashionable and as a way of winking and nodding to another culture and dressing up as a caricature of something. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like if I was a woman and I put on a bindi and a sari and I was just going out and everybody was like, wow, that's beautiful. I love that. Thanks. Yeah, I really appreciate Indian culture. I love it. It's beautiful over there, right? There's a difference between me doing that and me doing the same thing, right? But going out and going like, you know, and trying to like do all the fucking, like, making all the jokes and really like aping the culture rather than celebrating it, right? There's a clear dividing line there.
There's a difference between a genie costume and what Trudeau did.
Yes. Do you have issues with the Redskins mascot? No. I don't.
That's not your thing to be offended about.
Right. I don't think that it is my purview to take offense for every little fucking reference, as anachronistic as it may be, that still exists in culture. I don't expect that those references will ever be erased from American culture. Native Americans were a huge part of the American story and still are. So this idea that these kinds of maybe inherently negative kinds of associations are ever going to go away entirely in society, look, maybe someday. But it's not my part to like take. I would never. I wouldn't engage in like rabble rousing to get them to change the Redskins or whatever. It just ain't my thing.
Like, I'll give you an example of like an appropriate thing.
Sure.
So like, there's like the school district that I was in was very close to a Native American reservation, and a lot of those Native American kids went to that school district.
Right.
And they had this thing at one of the high schools where they were called the Tomahawks, and they used to do the tomahawk chop.
Well, that's the
for sports games.
Well, that started with the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
The
And, the Native Americans were intimately part of the community, and they asked to stop doing it.
Sure, and that makes sense.
Because those kids were going to that school.
Right. And they had to watch people basically making fun of their ancestors and shit. Right, got it. Do you ever eat with chopsticks? Yep. Love it. And I've never seen an Asian culture going like, hey, white guy, what are you doing? You weren't raised in China. You weren't raised in Japan. You weren't raised in Korea. Put those chopsticks down, sir. Nibushi Zhongguo Ren. Tabushi Zhongguo Ren. Give me those fucking chopsticks, man. Am I saying that right? Tabushi Zhongguo Ren.
Yeah.
Right? You are not Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How does Japan work?
Riben Ren, I assume.
Tabushi Riben Ren. They haven't ever used it that way. They've never used Japanese personification yet.
Yeah.
Or if they do, it's just Ruben. It may be like
Ruben chai is like Japanese food.
Right, but like Ruben might just be how you say Japanese as well as Japan.
Yeah.
How many languages do you speak? One. Functionally, one.
Like you know some about Spanish and some about French and now some about Mandarin, but you're not fluent in any.
I'm fluent in good old English. Hornpile, can you imagine? Hey, stop using chopsticks. It's pissing me off. Yeah, no. I mean, it's just not a thing, right? But that is different. People using chopsticks is different than everybody dressing up with hats, and going, oh, me. You know what I mean? Like, if everybody was doing that as part of a sports team, Asian people probably wouldn't want to have that around their kids and have that be part of their kids' sports team at their school, right? And that's pretty much what you're doing.
Or like using chopsticks for everything or something.
What can you do? I mean, it's not the chopsticks is the point.
Yeah.
It's how you use them, right?
I brush my teeth with chopsticks or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you like any more coffee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Oh, sorry. Shish it. Bukushi. Do you like Billy Idol's song Eyes Without a Face? Eyes without a face, easy to replace. Yeah, it's all right. It's a vibe. I have not read Terrorism and War by Howard Zinn, no. In fact, I've never really stepped outside of people's history with Zinn. Would you recommend?
finally won't come out, babe.
It's so cold. Mom needs to get a sweater too. I saw you shiver while you were smoking. You need a sweater.
I'll be okay.
You know, I saw you go while you were smoking. Legit saw it.
Well, I'll keep Dino warm, and Dino will keep
Okay,
me
fine.
warm.
You share body heat over there, and then
Dude, it might pop off tonight with another Dodgers game.
bro, I'm scared. I didn't realize that because it's been a long time since the Dodgers and the Yanks were in the series, and I didn't realize, bro. Dude, first game last night, and my neighborhood blew up.
Fireworks,
Cops.
yelling.
Joyful rioting. And like it's gonna happen again tonight. I'm gonna have to fucking like, all right, hold up, tournament of terror, pause. Paul might have to bug the fuck out. And then like imagine what the finals. Oh my god, a final game. Win, lose, or draw, it's gonna be awful. Oh my god, what if they lose in the finals? They're gonna be flipping cars. All right. We'll cross that. Look, there's no point in crossing the fucking Delaware before it's time.
Are you going to piss off that squirrel again today?
I doubt he's coming back. Because all he could do, huh, D, was perch right up there and spit booty chatter. And you sat right there and you were like, ain't
Squirrel.
ain't gotta be nothing unless you want to make nothing, right? Is what you were doing. And then he was up there spitting booty chatter for a good 10 minutes at you. But he didn't have shit to actually, like, no balls. I don't think he's coming back, D. I think he knows better. I think you nutted up and just showed him, like, whose yard this is, and that's that. Go find another yard to do his squirrely business in. You, sir, are way too old for YouTube. Fuck you.
You know how old YouTube is now?
I started this shit in 2006 when you were still crapping in diapers. Don't even talk to me, skibbity bitch. Don't even talk to me. You don't get to enforce your skibbity bullshit. YouTube ain't some brand new thing they invented for you kids, motherfucker. Yeah, dude. If I was chilling over at TikTok, I would eat that. They made that for yo skibbity ass. All right? Hell yeah. Dude, there were like ancient people making videos back in 06. YouTube, win, lose, or draw, that's the draw of it. It's a big platform and anybody can make a video on it. So there's old people, there's young, this idea that, I don't know, dude, whatever. I got triggered by that little skibbity motherfucker coming up in here with their mouth popping off. Thanks for the sub, though.
You're just too shivery out here, aren't you?
Both of you, I told you.
Yeah. I have to bundle you up in a sweater over you.
Our brain, he's got to have an outside blanket.
Yeah.
I was here before Google owned it. I was here when YouTube was a privately owned company. So go eat a dick. Go eat a big, fat, fucking veiny dick. I have written rap songs, bro. I've done like, what is it, like 5 songs with Andrew? With my rap persona Beauregard. Go check those out, bro. Eyes without a face. Yep. Star ratings, YouTube friends, YouTube DMs. Yup. I'm with the French. Call me Beauregard. Bum, 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 bum. I'm with this guy, I'm with that guy, I'm with this guy. We all plotted and we went to kill that guy. And we all took part in the killing of that guy. Burp, burp, burp. I hate this fucking shit, bro. I need to be shamed in and that too. There needs to be like a muted thing that comes up. I accidentally touched the mute. Just caught a body about a week ago. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, don't add that. It would make sense as of literally, like from my perspective, right? You guys don't see the same thing I do. Kind of see the same thing, but over here on my screen, right behind, in front of my hand. So there's a bunch of little tiny little buttons, right? There's one to flip my camera to the other camera. There's one right here to mute. This one lets me turn the camera off. This one lets me do the retouch mode, and this one lets me clip. And when I'm just swiping you guys' shit, trying to look for something, it's super easy for my finger to just go bloop. And the only way that you know you're muted is that little tiny microphone icon gets a slash through it. It's like you train yourself not even to look at that crap. It's just in the way, right? And that's the only way that you know that you're muted is that there's a little slash. It's fucking retarded. It's not even, it doesn't even turn red or nothing. I know this is nitpicky, but I miss when titles of vids were above the vid. It always bothered me when they switched to... Yeah. Me too. I agree. No, I totally agree. Oh, you like my Nancy Pelosi shirt? The rot at the heart of the Republic. Yeah, dude, my Pelosi shirt is badass, bro. My zombie Pelosi shirt. Paul, have you heard a new female singer who hates her fans? She told her fans, "Don't bother me." No. Who is that? Have not heard of that singer. Wow. Dude, hugs every time you're in here. I just have to reveal something to you because I know you're from Iceland. I hear the drums, that drum beat at the beginning of Human Behavior by Bjork. And I know it probably drives you nuts. Because Bjork is like, you'll be like, I'm from Iceland. And people will be like, oh, Human Behavior. But dude, that's the American way. I associate you immediately with the only Icelandic person that I know outside of you. I know you're not a huge fan. I know. I can tell because I've made several references like to her, you know, and you never respond, you know. I don't blame you. You're probably sick of it. With Swedes, we usually get meatballs, IKEA, or ABBA. You know what it is with me? With Swedes? Can you guess what it is with me? Because it's not any of those. I'm going to give you a chance. You know me pretty well. You've watched me for a while. What do you think it is with me with Swedes that my American mind immediately goes to? Nope. Surströmming's too deep. I know what it is. I'll give you a hint. Stroomadurba stroobadoo, strummadoo-doo, strudel-doo, streebadoodlin, scrudendoo, herdoodle-stee, strastreedle-doo. Yes, Swedish chef, yes. Sorry. You guys love the Swedish chef? Cool. Good. You have a good sense of humor about the Swede thing, then. It's strudel do, dude. He says strudel do like at the end of every goddamn thing, bro. Listen to him. Strudel, heedle, hoodle, deedle. Scrudoodle, fladeedle doo. Strudel dee, strudel doo. Sorry. I'm sorry, dude. All right, enough, Paul. Enough. Yeah, surströmming is pretty gross. I would never eat surströmming. Bork, 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 yeah. We have a lot of disgusting traditional food. I believe it. Well, you guys live in a land, right? Where, like, dude, even the Inuits were like, nah. Nah. It took the Vikings. They were like, out there into the cold and ocean, there be land, and we will settle. You know what I mean? And they were like, they showed up, and it's just nothing but like ice and a volcano. And they're just like, well, I'm guessing we gonna have to eatin' some seal blubbering, you know? And they just started like sucking seal blubber and draining the blood out of everything to make porridge with it. Sheep's balls, yeah. Cut off into the balls and on the sheep's and You know, wild, bro. Wild. Yeah, drying out sharks and letting them rot on the rack. That'll be tasty when it gets good and rotten. I'm so glad we settled on this barren rock in the Arctic. Sweden, land of the grossest food and hottest women. How does that happen? Dude, it's because, look, dude, a beautiful weapon is forged in fire. Okay? Icelandic women and, you know, like fucking Norwegian, Swedish, Finnish women, they're cut from a different cloth, man. All right? In fire, under pressure, a diamond. Under pressure, a diamond. That's what it is. That's what it is, dude. There's some Swedish food that is banging. Sweden has some hot twinks too. I imagine, yeah. Yeah. You get tired of all those supposed attractive people if you live here. I guess I can't appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I understand, I guess. That makes sense. Paul, isn't usually wherever women are oppressed, they have good foods and the inverse is true? I don't know, dude. I don't know how it works, man. I just know that it is true. Like here's two places that they cook them up hot. All right? They cook them up hot in the kind of like what that area. You know what I mean? The Swedish, like Swedes, Icelandies, Greenlandies. They cook them up hot, right? Go way south, they cook them up hot in Australia too. They do. They just whip them up hot down in Australia. Prove me wrong. Australia is just like overrun with super hot women. Russia, cook them up hot. I don't know what to tell you. Uh, you know, Japan cooks them up hot. Some about it. Some about all that work pressure cooks them up hot. Korea cooks them up hot. Colombia, all that drug trade, all the machine gun fire, you know, cooks them up hot. Brazil, I mean, come on. Cooks them up hot. Costa Rica, it's right there in the name. Rica, que rica. Cooks them up hot. Hot as fuck. Been a while since I could hold my head up high. Been a while since I said I'm sorry. Look, I know Chair says some wild stuff, but you can't. Look, you can't put that on me. Chair is his own person. All right, this is a biker Dave chair. It's gonna say what it wants. You know, you can try and put some sort of controls on the biker Dave chair, but it's just not gonna work. It will say whatever the fuck it wants. So you may as well just make peace with it. Oh, you guys just ate it, dude. You guys just ate it so hard. Okay. Yeah, dude, I need to be shamed. Shame me. Please shame me. Tell me, like, Paul, get an arm for your thing. Quit propping it up. Okay, I need something. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stabilize over here somehow. Maybe. Oh, god damn it. Oh, you guys. Please shame me. Please. tell me to get a fucking arm for my thing. Come on, dude. What is this? This absurdity. Okay. I don't know if that's gonna really work for me. Okay. That's bullshit. Getting dizzy. Yeah, you guys just got like. You guys went on a roller coaster for a second. How'd you guys like it? Was it fun? Shame. Shame. All right. I'm contemplating another joint. I've got a little bit left here on one, so I'll have a joint. Finish this one, and then I'll sit in contemplation of another. Shame. Oh, man. Did you see Trump was on Rogan? Yes, I saw. It was boring, and Rogan just glazed Trump. Like, I hope these people that say that, like, well, at least Rogan doesn't choose sides. I hope they shut up forever now. He's a Trumpist. He's a Trump ally guy. It's been a while since I said I'm sorry. Yes, this is Zombie Pelosi. It's actually like a severed zombie Pelosi head, if you really look at it. Very politically edgy shirt. This is peak political edge. Paul, is Joe Rogan podcast a stupid version of Howard? No, Howard Stern in the 90s was stupid as fuck, bro. That was kind of the point of Howard Stern. Howard Stern wasn't trying to be a highfalutin show. It was like a show where they routinely would like have contests to see who could get baloney to stick to a stripper's ass from across the room. And other things. Anal ring toss was a thing. Yeah, no. The Howard Stern show was peak stupid days, right? That was the point of it. Yeah, it was basically a podcast. Yeah, he invented the kind of like idea that the personalities on the show are more important than the show covering every goddamn thing, right? Like back before Howard Stern, the idea of a DJ was to be a companion to center music and news and traffic and weather reports, right? To be that, to be somebody who facilitated that. Howard Stern just threw all that shit in the trash and was like, this show, when you tune into it, is about a crazy group of people that work in this office and all the stupid shit they do. You know? Is it true Islam is an offshoot of Christianity? It's an offshoot of Judaism, right? It's called an Abrahamic faith. And Judaism would be the oldest of the three Abrahamic faiths. Ibrahim, yes. Howard Stern was very quick-witted and unserious. Now he acts like he's the Dalai Lama. I know. Because he tried to rebrand himself as like this great interviewer, but he's not. He used to be a great interviewer because you could tune in to hear Howard Stern asking people in power crazy questions that you would never hear on any other thing. You know what I mean? Seeing how they would field that used to be fun. Now Howard is just like, would you like some more coffee? Are you comfortable? I had to give Dinor the mummy wrap in there. He's sitting on the couch, giving me a certain look. And I was like, what is it? And then I looked behind him, there was a blanket. And I was like, oh. Went and gave him a good little burrito tuck, and then he was happy. The look on his face changed. I know how to read me a Dinor, man. Dinor and I communicate. May not be on a very super deep level, but there's a communication. There's a nonverbal communication. Paul, the issue is back in the 90s, there were so many outlets for politicians. The politicians were kind of forced to play along. No, well, that was part of it, but the bigger part of it was that Howard Stern pulled numbers that blew everybody else out of the water, so they had to reckon with him. So he was kind of like the Joe Rogan, right? Everybody who's looking to up their profile would love to sit across from Joe Rogan, except for maybe a few political operatives who, you could do that. But like we're talking like in the entertainment business or whatever, bro, there's hardly a bigger audience that you can get instant access to than Joe Rogan. So it really is less about how many outlets there are and more about the clout of his outlet, right? In my mind. Because, yeah, I mean, if he was just some shitty local guy that nobody was listening to, they never would have, like, nobody would have come within 100 yards of the Howard Stern show. But because what he did was so popular and so, so widespread at a certain point, you almost couldn't say no. Like, you can't buy publicity like that usually, right? And, like, just a mention on the Howard Stern show will sell out an arena. It's true. Like if you're a comedian or like, at least back in the day, I don't know about now, but like back in the day, if you're a comedian or a rock star or rapper or something and you're not like super household name level yet, bro, you get a fucking shout out on Howard Stern, you're going to make some money. So it was like people were almost kind of like press ganged into getting in to Howard Stern and putting up with his shit. Most of Joe's fans are right wing, so I doubt any Democrat would benefit from going on there. Well, here's the thing. I think that there is a theoretical Democrat who could do well going on Joe Rogan, right? Because I come from a time where politicians going on oppositional type shows was not unheard of. In fact, it was kind of par for the course. Politicians have just reached a point now where they're so manicured, and by manicured I mean they have so many handlers and everything is so carefully crafted that they can't go into like a hostile interview anymore. That theoretically a person with good media training and shit could go on Joe Rogan and just make him look like a dum-dum. You come armed with facts and figures and arguments, prepared from you have your team watch Joe Rogan, find out the type of shit he's going to sling. You have somebody that's media trained that prepares for that. I think Joe Rogan gets fucking dunked on, right? But that's what it takes. It takes a candidate that's got kind of natural riz and swagger. And we just don't have that on the left. Kamala would get torn to pieces on Joe, even if she landed a few blows, it would be a net loss. Tim Walz, same thing. Tim Walz is a media nightmare. He might be a nice guy, but he's just not media trained. He looks like shit when he does interviews and stuff. So, yeah, we just don't have that option on the left. So I agree with the current crop. I think maybe Bernie 10 years ago would be better, but you know what I'm saying? Like Bernie could hold his own on Joe. Oh yeah, that's right. Bernie went on Joe. I forgot about that. That's a good example, right? Like, I don't think that, Bernie lost by going on Joe Rogan. All people are afraid of nukes. What about regular civilians having access to a swarm of military-grade drones? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's wild, dude. Shit is about to be wild. I think that we are going to see electronic countermeasures designed at defending against drones becoming things that are more popular for people to have. Because there is this question of, let's say I have a neighbor, right? And that neighbor is into drones. And that neighbor flies their drone out of their backyard. But they like to hover their drone over my backyard. and use a camera that's on it to see what's what back here, and then go all around the neighborhood and just take a peek over your fence, right? At a certain point, I feel like that infringement should have an equal countermeasure, right? And I think it probably already exists, like some sort of like ECM pulse, where it's like I can fucking, if you're hovering your drone, I can, you know, put a bead on it and hit it with a focused ECM, and it just falls out of the sky. Now I've got a drone. Thanks. Sorry, it was in my yard, man. If I shot a bird that was in my yard, would somebody come take the bird from me? You know, I think that is going to become more and more likely. But yeah, dude, thinking about it right now, somebody in control of a bunch of weaponized drones, not even gun drones. The drones they're using now are called suicide drones because they zero in on a target and then the drone itself just crashes into the target and explodes and kills everything in the room. Right? Whoa. Hey, babies. Whoa. Dude, big flocks of birds. Do we own the airspace above our yards? That's going to be the question, right? But before that question is functionally answered, there probably already are ways that you can knock people's drones out of the sky. Well, it's more akin to like a TOW, a TOW weapon, right? Which is a visually guided weapon. So a TOW missile can be guided in flight using a camera, right? It's kind of old technology now. But that's kind of what but they're way more maneuverable than a TOW missile, right? A TOW missile has to be fired, and then within its operational range can strike a target kind of with precision as long as it was launched properly. A drone can just hover and wait. Paul, what do they do in some Middle Eastern mosques if the drone enters a certain area, the SIM will be blocked and lose connection? Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. That sort of like electronic countermeasure is probably available now and is probably going to become more ubiquitous and maybe even packaged as a countermeasure for people to have for home defense. It's like the idea of somebody just parking a drone over your property and just filming you 24/7. Fuck that. Now I've got a drone. Thanks for the parts. I'll sell that shit on eBay. You know what I mean? Yes, I'm talking about, yeah, and we're talking about U.S. military drones. Predator drone is what you're talking about, Phoebes. You're talking about a drone that has the ability to use like updrafts like a bird does, to use very little power to just drift for days. Just ride an updraft and glide, stay over a place, super long range targeting, right? It's that reason that flying cars would never work, maybe. Yeah, we should, I mean, obviously, philosophically oppose the government using it as well, but there's a difference between the military having an operational drone fleet and your neighbor deciding he wants to find out what's going on in your backyard 24/7, 365 by hovering a drone there and watching you. There's a functional difference between that. and you know that it's already a thing, right? Like, not with me. I do think that somebody in the neighborhood is a drone operator because I have seen drones or heard drones zipping around and stuff. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with you flying your drone around, you know what I mean? But like, there's a difference between that and then using it as a tool of surveillance or harassment of your neighbors, and you know that's already going on. You know there's some fucking petty ass neighbors, and one of them happens to be a drone nerd, and they're just parking that drone over your property, taking a look in your backyard, watching you as you come and go, and there's nothing you can do. It's happened to you? You had somebody stalk you with a drone? So petty, bro. There you go, Skynet rounds. But if you fire one of those off in the city, you're going to jail. Yeah, I mean, like, I literally, like, I think drones are cool, bro. You know, I might pick one up as the technology becomes more ubiquitous and easy to use. I love the idea of going to some place that's out in the middle of nowhere, just beautiful nature, and then using a drone to get some beautiful panoramic shots of it. You know, I think that's cool. And as that becomes less price prohibitive and more, you know, user friendly, I might pick one up. I'm not against the idea of civilian drone usage and stuff like that. I think it's super cool. But there is a very wide potential for abuse when you've got a flying thing, right? A flying camera, basically, that you can just park over somebody's property, use it to harass them, use it to make noise over their house when they're trying to enjoy themselves. There's all kinds of like little subtle harassment techniques, and I don't think the law has caught up with it. You know what I mean? I don't think the law has caught up with that level of technology being used in a harassment capacity, right? You call the cops and say, I want to, you know, I want to report harassment. They come to take your statement. You say, my neighbor is spying on me. And they go, okay. He has a drone. Okay. And he just films in my backyard. You start to sound like a paranoiac, right? And the cops are just like, all right, sir, we'll take it down. You know, and they might even go talk to your neighbor like, and he'll just be like, no, I'm just a drone enthusiast. I'm not taking any pictures or saving any videos of their backyard or anything. I just fly the drone around here in the way that I can. That person over there is crazy, officer. Well, somebody just said, Phoebes, that there are shotgun rounds called Skynet, where instead of shooting pellets, they shoot a little microfiber net out that are meant to snare up drone rotors. So those already exist. The net thing already exists. And that one's extra cool too because it's another way to functionally not just like deny the drone access to your area, but to knock it out of the sky and recover it. Like, now, oh, shit, now this is my drone, bitch. Well, that's part of the thing with delivery drones, right? Is there are already people porch pirating and stuff like that. So what if there's a delivery drone coming? Is it going to be common for criminals to come out, use some of this ECM on that drone, steal whatever packages it's got on it for delivery, and then maybe even steal the drone itself and part it out, right? That's kind of like the problem with this idea that you're going to have drones delivering shit to your door, right? Well, here's Phoebes. Here's the problem, though. Drones are never to be operated outside of line of sight. So I don't know if you've seen it, but a lot of high-end drone operators use a system of glasses that functionally puts their eyes in the drone. It is a way they skirt around the federal drone permit. Because the legal argument, I don't think that there's any established case law about this yet, but the legal argument is this drone couldn't be any more in my line of sight. I am the drone. My line of sight is functionally blocked out from the world, and the entire field of my vision is what the drone sees. I'm not saying it legally protects them. I'm saying there is no established case law that I'm aware of that anybody's been prosecuted under that was using those goggles. So I don't think it's been challenged yet, but that is why those rigs exist in the way that they do. It's not an external peripheral. It's something you wear on your face that shuts out the rest of the world and excludes your vision to what the drone is seeing in real time. That's the argument, right? Outside of my vision, how could it ever be? I'm connected directly to it. FPV drone setup or whatever the fuck, yeah. Yeah, I know. I remember there was a bunch of stuff back in 2015, 16, 17 about how Amazon was about to roll out this drone fleet where and they'd patented these devices where like municipal things could be used as docking points for delivery drones to recharge themselves. Just like you said, tying into the electrical grid that's already in place on the innards of a lamp post or a stoplight, or like using the top of a bus station or a municipal building, right? That otherwise wouldn't be used by anything as a recharging station for drones. Here's the thing, Phoebes. I don't think that there is going to be a functional legal way to stop this type of harassment that isn't establishing the right of a person that owns a piece of property to defend that property from surveillance or unwanted visiting, right? So using things like this shotgun round that shoots a microfiber net instead of pellets, meant to just choke up the rotors on these drones, right? But that's a I think that they're going to come up with ways of protecting these rotors from things like that, right? Still keeping them functional because they have to be exposed to the air to be functional, to be but coming up with some sort of countermeasure that you can just clip onto your drone rotors that functionally keeps that net. They might hit the drone with a net, but it keeps that net out of the rotor. Yeah, I mean, it's not even cutting edges. I'm thinking about a small, very fine microfiber mesh, right? That allows maximal airflow, but prevents sticks, stones, birds, nets from getting into the rotor mechanism. So think about a really fine microfiber mesh over the rotor. Not a balloon, because it's really like hitting it with a net round, right? What you're doing is you're gumming up one or more of the rotors with that shot, right? That net is hitting the thing, wrapping around it, and part of that net's getting in the rotor, and the rotor's going oh and getting choked, and now you got a three-legged drone that falls, right? Or is functionally disabled. So if you could just easily design like a really, really fine mesh enclosure for each one of the rotors and just leave them in their ability, because a lot of these higher end drones, the rotors are not static. The rotors can move in order to facilitate tighter maneuvering and faster speed, right? And so you keep that separate and you create an enclosure that allows maximal airflow but prevents foreign objects from penetrating into the rotor. In fact, this probably already exists. What I'm talking about is probably already a thing. So the idea of gumming up the works mechanically, physically with an object, I think isn't the way it needs to go. It's an ECM pulse that I think it's going to be. What about birdshot? Well, then you run into this legal challenge of like you're firing a deadly weapon, right? You're shooting at something that somebody, right? I think that opens you up to more, right? If you just have an ECM, a targeted ECM pulse that you can hit a drone with, and it functionally just like fries some capacitor in the drone, easily repaired, causes it to fall from the sky, and you can just go recover that drone, dismantle it, do whatever you want because it's on your fucking property, right? And the person learns, hey, I can't go over this guy's fucking property and just hover my drone around it because he's got an ECM, and it's fucking $900 drone every time. I'm not gonna feed this dude, so I'm gonna keep my drone off this dude's fucking property, right? From what I can tell, right? Because it's a legal gray area. It's something like that. An ECM pulse could be used to like fuck with people as much as it could be used to. It's just like a gun. It's gonna have to have some regulatory agency over it, right? The net one, Skynet, is what the guy said it was called. Maybe he was just trolling, but it sounds like something that could be done. Fill a shotgun shell with a microfiber net with little weights at the ends. Boom, it gums up a drone, right? Sounds like something that functionally could be done. You can load pretty much whatever you want along with fissile material into a shotgun shell. So it seems like stuff a little weighted microfiber net in there. Good little fissile material, get it out of the barrel super hard and fast. It comes out immediately in the area you pointed the gun, spreads out, hopefully hits the drone and wraps it up, gets in the rotors and drops it. But the thing that would protect rotors. Oh, okay, yeah. I would assume that, it's probably not something a lot of people are doing yet. Like knocking a drone out of the sky is not something that people are really functionally thinking about too much yet, but I think they will.
Well, it seems like drones are pretty much most warfare at this point.
Yeah, they're here to stay. Civilian applications, industrial applications, and military applications, they're here to stay. So the question is what we're talking about is, in a hypothetical world, right? Let's say we live right here, and this neighbor or that neighbor, one of our closest neighbors, right? Or maybe somebody that we don't even know, but that's down in the neighborhood, is a drone operator. And they decide they want to see what's going on in our backyard every day. They just want to hover that drone up there till the battery gets low, fly it back to wherever it came from, put another one up in the air, and bring another drone back. So they basically, your backyard is now their TV channel, right? This probably is already happening to people. Probably people are already using drones for this type of harassment and surveillance. So the question is, like, functionally, what are your rights as a homeowner to privacy? And certainly you couldn't shoot a firearm here. So we're kind of fucked when it comes to having any kind of like a shotgun shell. So we shoot that off out here, we are fucked. It doesn't matter what kind of load. So having something that's silent, that just, but you could also fuck with people with that. So it has to be regulated just like a gun.
You need a drone to police the drones. the super drone.
Yep. There was somebody who used to come by and watch me 4 times a week with a drone when I was sitting in back smoking. Eventually, I just stayed inside for a month and they got bored. That's fucking crazy, though. That sort of shit. And I mean, like, there are really questions, right? So you were sitting there, but you said you used to live in the city. So, like, were you in a place that was functionally public? Like, were you sitting on a balcony that if I was walking on the street, I could see you? Or if I was on a balcony across from you, incidentally, I could see you. Or if I was, up the street, I could see you sitting there. If that's the case, then I don't know if you have a case, right? For like drone harassment. I mean, they'd have to really be flying it into your fucking area. And they really don't have to do that. You'd see it up there. You'd probably hear it, right? But if you're in a place, because like my backyard right now is not public facing. So the expectation of privacy back here is only limited by my neighbor's desire to peek over the fence, right? But I have an expectation of total privacy back here. I'm not supposed to be under surveillance and shit. So that's the ethical question, right?
Like if we were in the front porch, it'd be different. The one that faces the street.
Right, yeah. If we're on the, and we do sit out there sometimes, we have real no expectation of privacy sitting on the front porch. Faces the public street. It's a public sidewalk right out in front of our house. But this back here is different.
Yeah.
Like if you were visible from public, there's really not a question that they had to, because it would be like if they wanted to just take your picture and you're on a public fucking street. Even if you're within your domicile, if you were in an area that is fully accessible to public view, you can't enforce some public restriction on taking pictures. With you can put up a barrier, right? That is your right, but you can't.
I think there might be some limitations, like if someone used the picture for commercial use, they might have to get your
Or if it's
permission.
part of a broader stalking case. But with a drone, how much resources are the cops going to throw looking for somebody that could be a mile away, right? It's just retarded. So it gives a certain amount of cover to a stalkery type of person, and that is the ethical question, right? Because if somebody's just like chilling out in the street taking pictures all day, and you're not a public figure, you could start making a case for harassment. Like you could go to the legal and say, hey, this dude takes pictures of me even if they're not using him for commercial use. You could theorize like this isn't just taking pictures of a public space. This is possibly a fetishization of me. I've asked this person to please wait until I'm not on my porch to take pictures of this area, that they have enough pictures of me, and this person has ignored my requests. You know what I mean? You could make a harassment case because there's a person there.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I feel like there would just have to be an ordinance against drones, period.
What about this? Instead of restricting it, what about instead of having an ECM drone, if you want to be a drone operator, your drone has to have an RFID chip that's readable to anybody that has the equipment to read it, that registers that drone to you. And if you're flying an unregistered drone, you go to fucking prison. How about that?
Or at least it's taken away from you or whatever.
Well, depending on what you were doing with it, yeah. But yeah, that would work. They already have these, like, they can put them on people, RFID tracking.
I don't think they have enough range, though.
Well, it would require a special type of tool, right? That would magnify, you would aim it at it, and it would give you a cone of read on that RFID chip. They could standardize that, guaranteed. And that would at least give you, if you feel somebody's harassing you, you could film the drone and how long it's there, take the RFID reading to the cops and say, this guy's harassing me and watching me 24/7 in my backyard. Here's his name, here's where he lives. And the cops can go and intervene in some way, interview that guy at the very least, and see what he's doing, and ask him to keep his drone off of your property. And then if he doesn't, you take it to the next step. I mean, I think honestly they should have that type of shit for cars already. Like, we already have, you can't drive a car without it being registered. You should know who's driving around you. You shouldn't have to, like, hope somebody doesn't drive away after a fender bender. Like, if you're driving a registered vehicle, because
well, I mean, that's what the plate is supposed to be for.
But it isn't. I'm talking about, like, because the plates can be fucked with, right? Just make it, because the plate doesn't let me as a private citizen. I can use the plate to make a public report, but what if I need that person's fucking information, right?
Well,
Because
I assume if you give the plate to your insurance company, the insurance company has the resources.
I don't know, man. It just seems like something that could be fucking functionally used way more than it is. Because I don't see it as an infringement on my privacy if somebody knows. Otherwise, I'd be against the plate. But I think it would add functionality in the case of somebody doing a hit and run, right? Or maybe their plate was obscured. They do a hit and run, boom, 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 right? I mean, it would have to be some external thing that you could put on a car. Like, it wouldn't have to. I think it could be integrated into newer cars, but just make a little thing that everybody, is issued when they go to register their car. It's part of their registration fee that they get their little RFID box. You clip it under the dash. It's a magnet thing. And if you don't have it, the cops pull your ass over. Right?
I don't know how much that would do for, like, a hit and run of a pedestrian, though.
Well, here's what it would unlock that a plate doesn't do. They could run a fucking check. Who was crossing this intersection at the time of death? Mm-hmm. We know that this impact happened between here and here. Mm-hmm. Which cars passed through the intersection and registered to whom? Right? There was a kidnapping and the kid was taken away in a car. Which cars were in the neighborhood at the time she was abducted?
I think you'd need more than RFID to track at that level.
No. You would need RFID with monitoring stations on lampposts and shit.
But what would be the difference between that and just doing cameras?
Because you still have functional privacy. The cops know we're here, right? So us having RFID broadcasting that we're here, right? What does that change? The cops know we live here. It's registered to us. They don't know we're here, but they do know we're here, right? So it's just like, I don't see what it changes, but I think it adds functionality in certain types of cases where people use anonymity as a shield to get away with shit. Paul, that would be a gold mine for harassers. How? Let's say that this also comes with an RFID monitoring system for your home. So in the same way that the cops can use it when you're driving down the street or to see who passed through an intersection at a certain time and in what vehicle and registered to whom, right? You can set up a thing on your property that alerts you when there's anybody else's RFID signal coming onto your property, right? Or maybe you get two-way confirmation. When your RFID signal is received, you get a report as to who looked, right? Which RFID registered device was it that looked at yours, right?
I feel like you might be overcomplicating a little bit what cameras already functionally do.
Well, cameras, though, like, okay, here's what a camera does that an RFID broadcast doesn't. And I know this is stupid, but let's just say I want to come out in my backyard. It's 3 a.m. Everybody's asleep. I just want to stand there naked in the moonlight. If I have an RFID broadcast system on my home that's letting everybody know who lives here, they don't have a video of me standing in the moonlight naked, right? That's the difference between RFID monitoring and video monitoring, in my mind. You still have functional visual privacy if there's an RFID tag on your car and your home, right? Nobody can watch. They can see where you're coming and going, but they could already see that. You're already broadcasting your fucking location everywhere you go. I don't see a difference. I don't know. I think we're heading that way is kind of like what I'm saying. Like I can see the way that it could function, and I could see the way it could be abused. But I think ultimately, like, questions aside, we're heading towards a society that is going to be more open in terms of like how you have to transact with people. We're already doing it like without having RFID broadcasting where how many people are tweeting 24/7 365 with location on? It's like we're actively passively too sharing all of this data already. It's just only useful to a bunch of shady companies. Why not make it useful to everybody? Right? Well, maybe they don't know that. I'm not saying you yourself have some sort of broadcast implant or that you have to carry some RFID chip around all the time. I'm saying that your house is identifiable as yours. Your car is identifiable as yours. Cops can set up monitoring devices that aren't that are passively collecting data, just like cameras and this, that, and the other thing, right? Because like like let's say that somebody hits somebody and pulls off, right? A camera, depending on how fast that person was going and the angle they came in at, might not catch the plates. So now all you have is a vague description of a car that passed through the camera's thing and just splattered somebody, right? If you can look who was here, we know what time it happened because of the camera footage, but we can't narrow down what car it was. Who the fuck was here at that time? Which RFID chip drove by right at that moment? Oh, it's this guy. Boom, straight to it. Or little kid was abducted, taken in a car. There was no camera. What car was near the park? Let's go interview those people. Oh, found her. You know what I mean? It just seems like it would be an instant lead for a lot of abuses of anonymity. That's the upside I see of it. The downside is it would allow a lot of people to know more about you than maybe you want them to know.
What would be the purpose of it being on the house, though?
Well, okay. Let's say, so if I wanted to find out a neighbor's full name, how would I do that?
I mean, you could request a record of the address and the ownership of that and all that. Like, we did that when we were looking at one rental. We wanted to see who actually owned it.
Right, but the ownership, let's say somebody's renting, and I want to know who that is over there because I've tried to tell the cops that they're doing some subtle harassing thing to me.
They have the other resources, like on white pages, you can request information about an address.
I mean, like, but how good is that? Like you're not the cops. You don't have Lexus lookup where it's like up-to-date information on credit report history and who lives here and whose phone is in there and all that shit.
Well, I mean,
if the cops have that, why shouldn't we? In our neighborhoods, right? Maybe it's limited by geography. Maybe your RFID receiver only works in your fucking limited neighborhood or whatever. So, but I think that I don't have any problem with my neighbors knowing my name. Right? They've got a problem with me. I don't got a problem with that. It's already, like you said, possibly maybe possible to find it out through several bureaucratic means. Why not just streamline it? This person over here is doing something that's harassing. I've called the cops. You know what I mean? I want to take it legal. I want to take it civil.
But I don't know, I feel like the lawyer could also just already do that.
True. Okay, what about the idea of using functional anonymity as a way to harass people? So, like, you're down the street from me, right? I don't even really know what house you live in, but clearly you live in this neighborhood, right? You're coming by all the time and just shitting on my lawn in the middle of the night, wearing a mask, and then running away.
How would the RFID chip on their house accomplish? If you
Well, it would let you know who's around you.
I thought you said that you don't expect people to have the RFID chip on their person, though.
Well, it would let you know who lives around you. If the cops weren't capable of investigating this, you could hire a private investigator that would now have access to all of that easily. Who lives here?
But I mean, the private investigator already knows how to do that.
You're right. I don't know. What about transactionally? So I want to exchange something with somebody that's in my neighborhood. And we have an RFID connection, so I can make sure that my drone flies to their house and delivers what I want to deliver to them. How about that?
I mean, I feel like that's still pretty excessive.
I mean, but think about it. It might be like people are flying drones now. How long is it before they're using it to like, hey, dude, I'm going to send you something real quick?
But, I mean, you already know their address and stuff.
It's true. Good point.
I just feel like you're adding this layer of complexity to houses that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Okay, how about this? You've got a... What if they used it for functionality within your house? Right? Never mind. I don't know.
I feel like you're stretching this.
I'm stretching it real hard. Stretching it thin.
This isn't too high of a idea, I think.
Maybe it is. You're probably right about that. But the car thing, I back that.
Yeah.
The car would make sense. The same day this happens is the day I spoof my ID on the drone to frame someone else. Damn. Damn, son. No, Amelia's she's got a laser focus. She's gonna make you fucking admit it eventually. She knows. She smells bullshit. She's not gonna let it go. She's gonna find out that it's bullshit. She's gonna hear from you that it's bullshit. You gotta love it. Could replace car tags and actually make them useful. Yeah. I don't know, man. Whatever. I think I got a good argument for the car one, but maybe not such a good argument for the house one.
Yeah, it's not like I'm opposed to it morally or whatever. I just feel like it's redundant.
What if we got rid of addresses in favor of just RFID? So people couldn't use your address to find you.
How could you mail anything, though?
Via RFID.
But they still have to know the address to put it in the mail.
So your RFID registry is accessed by the company that's shipped or the postal service. They use it, like the cops use it, but the average Joe doesn't get to use it. But what the average Joe can't do now is dox you. Because where you live is not instantly look upable if you're not in fucking, like, your registered government RFID, like, domicile becomes your address. So nobody can be like, this person lives on 2828 Wichita Avenue. I'm going to go jerk off and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You get a creep How do they fucking know that you live there? It's just a bunch of houses with no numbers on it.
But how are people going to deliver things?
The people that deliver things should be registered agents of the government.
But how do they navigate to it is what I'm saying.
They have access to the same thing cops do, and your registered RFID is accessed by a local monitoring station that only the cops have, and it pinpoints exactly which house is registered to you, and that information available only to the postal people that are
But
registered.
what about DoorDash? How's DoorDash going to find your house?
Fuck DoorDash. It's over. No, here's how because DoorDash doesn't give you the address. Well, it does, right? But that could be just replaced because right now they're using navigation to get to your house through the DoorDash app. So you order DoorDash. DoorDash is a registered company. It knows your RFID.
But then anyone could just sign up for DoorDash to fucking...
Well, yeah, but that makes it a little harder than just like 1818 North Avenue. You know what I mean?
It makes it... It's less hard than...
It makes it harder for a weirdo who's got to move all the way from Florida to California, join DoorDash in the area they think you're in, and hopefully you order a burger when they're looking. That doesn't, you know what I mean? That is a functional layer of privacy. You have to admit it. That is. That makes it super hard for somebody to find out where you live.
How are you going to get rid of all the addresses? All the records have addresses on them.
Poof, it's gone. Fuck this. I hate the name of this fucking area anyway. I don't like the street I live on. Fuck it. Fuck it. It's bullshit. You get no choice. You buy a whole ass house. But for the rest of the time you own that house, it's got a horrible name. I live on fucking 1919 Grindlewich Bog Puss Avenue.
I know, but the street is still called that.
Grindlewich Bog Puss. Why? Eliminate it.
You're just gonna get rid of all...
Poof!
All
it's gone.
Signs,
yep.
All addresses.
Yep. Gone. Self-driving cars.
Are you just practicing for the gauntlet, making arguments?
So let's say you want to send me something. Right? You don't know my address. And if I've never told you where I lived, I don't want you to know my address, but we're friends on the internet. But I want that layer of anonymity. You want to send me something, right? I can send you a non-locational code that you can give to the USPS to ship me anything you want.
That's what P.O. boxes are for.
Yeah, but P.O. boxes suck. You got to go all the way over there, and they call you and bitch because you got 10 packages. You got to come. Fuck that. Comes to my door. Those stupid little intermediary businesses go out of business because nobody wants them anymore. Because now you have functional anonymity to people who shouldn't have your address. There's no reason for a stalker. Let's say, hypothetically, an ex-girlfriend of mine goes nuts. She wants to know where Paul's living right now. And Paul is tight-lipped about that. Now, I'm broadcasting so she could be on the West Coast somewhere. Okay. Now what? Well, I know his name is Paul Parkey. Let me go to the white pages. Ooh, he's at blah, 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 blah. Fuck that. Why do they need to know that ever? Right? The cops? You can make a functional argument for that. Deliveries, you're going to want them, you give them to these companies.
But, like, we use that to verify that we weren't getting scammed looking at a rental, that the person who said they owned it actually owned it.
They give you a non-identifying RFID code that you can run through and do a government background check on that person and see that they own that property if they want to show it.
How do you find the house?
How do you find the house?
Yeah, if you're saying that the RFID is only given to people that are like registered delivery people, how do you navigate to a house that doesn't have an address?
Okay, so what are the auspices for you going to that house?
Like if you were going to tour it or whatever, how do they give you the directions to get there if it doesn't have an address?
Okay, so when a house is not currently being occupied or is being occupied but is also for sale, it is given you're given certain, like a temporary RFID access, right? That is given to you by the registered agent selling the home, whether it's a person or a fucking company, right? That allows you one time to plug that shit into your fucking navigational shit and get to a house, right? Now you could remember, but you're not going to have this number and name in your head forever of that house, right? And they could run a background check on you before they ever give you that information. They already do, right? So they'd probably be for this. They could announce, this is the area that this house is in. Want more information? Send us a temporary RFID.
They already have the option to post it without an address.
Okay, well, fine then. They don't need that level of protection. But how would you get there? Yeah, they send you a one-time expiring code based on their background check, knowing that it's only going to you and your registered RFID receiver. Boop. You get to go. You can check out the house. Somebody meets you there. Hey, look at this, look at that, look at that. You like it, you rent it. You don't, you fucking fuck off. Your RFID thing goes, and hey, you can, if you're really good at directions, you can get back there. But do you have an address registry that you can share with other people? No. Do you have an RFID tag that you can give to somebody else? No. It was expiring, one-time use.
I just feel like you have dueling arguments. You have an argument for less privacy with the car RFID, but more privacy for the home thing.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily dueling, right? The idea of privacy has changed. So, cops already have this functional surveillance equipment. We carry one in our pocket. Your phone is accessible to law enforcement via multiple means. One of the ways they do it, they ping your fucking smart TV. And they get a fucking readout of everybody's phone that's in that property within range of the pulse. Right? I don't like necessarily that cops have shit like that, but the truth of the matter is they do. And I think we're racing towards a time where your average person is going to have that too. It is way easier for stalkers to find victims now, right? And stalkers aren't just sex predators. Stalkers are just like pests. People that just want to fuck with you because they get off on it. There's more and more opportunity. Look at swatting.
What about the media? You're saying the media doesn't have any permission to try to interview someone at their home if they can't catch them in public?
No. No. I mean, the media is going to follow people, right? And that doesn't, this RFID thing doesn't stop your local stalker from just following your car to where you live. And now they know the neighborhood that you're in. And if they can remember the route, they can get back to it, right? I'm not saying, but I'm saying what it does protect you from is this like digital harassment campaign shit that's becoming broader and broader as time goes on. People can multiply, share information with groups of people in surreptitious ways and find out your docs and then send cops to your house and pizza to your house. Dude, one of these lol cows that I didn't get to cover, this Cyrax guy, say what you want about what he does. He's retarded. But people just go to his house. They just show up at his house because somebody looked up where he lives.
But what would stop someone that does have permission to do the RFID one time sharing the like actual like written directions to get there?
Nothing. But it's an extra layer that isn't just a publicly broadcasted piece of information that nobody needs to know. Unless you're in law enforcement or a government agency verifying ID or a government registered business that needs your identification as part of its, thing, right? And that adds another layer of protection because then you could go like, well, somebody swatted me. Well, so which RFID request was sent to the cops for locational? Who sent it? Where did, you know what I mean? It gives, it would actually...
But there's no way to stop people trading RFID receivers. You'd have to like add an RFID to every time someone rented a car.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There would have to be a system by which number one, if you're renting a car, that car should be registered with some agency that's overseeing that you're not giving people an unsafe car. You agree with that, right? So that car is registered with the government already as a rental vehicle, right? Typically. So when cops pull you over in a rental car and something pings back, they're going to get, this is owned by AutoZone or whatever the fuck, right? It's a rental.
What's stopping you from like just hopping in an Uber and then doing your...
What do you mean?
Like, you're trying to find someone's place, you get in an Uber that's not registered to you.
Okay, so somebody... I mean, I don't know. It's just like, that's an extra layer. That's almost like the moving to an area and hoping somebody orders DoorDash. You know what I mean? It's like you can Uber there, but you can't Uber. Like, why would you let Uber take you to another person's house? If I want you're coming to my house to visit me. And I want you to be able to do that. And you say, hey, I'm going to take an Uber. I send you because I trust you, an expiring temporary RFID thing that you plug into your Uber that lets the Uber driver come there one time and gets you there. But if you don't have that layer of permission from me, you have to abuse being an Uber driver in my area and hoping I call you. Or being you know what I mean? Why should somebody who doesn't know me at all ever know my address? Like, what utility is that to me? Ever.
I just feel like there's too many people that need addresses that it would be a complicated thing that could be easily exploited.
A lot of the people that need addresses need them for means that I don't care about. Like finding out where the registered Democrats live so that you can go canvass over there, right? I don't need that layer of access to other people in my fucking world unless I want to tell them where I live.
So you think people shouldn't be able to canvass for petitions or anything?
They should, right? They can come. I'm not restricting access to this neighborhood. They want to do a door-to-door campaign where they're knocking on doors. I'm not saying we restrict that.
How do they figure out your district without having an address to verify that you're in the district that they're campaigning for?
The districts are public.
But how do you define the district if you can't have the addresses to know?
Digitally. Digital boundaries.
But how do you...
Neighborhoods will have names or whatever the fuck, or neighborhoods will have digital identifications as part of a city partition.
Well, I mean, like, the districts are weird. Like, our zip code is split in two.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to figure out which district you're in is by address, the zip code.
Digitize it. Once you register your domicile as your RFID domicile, it'll just tell you what district you're living in if you want to share that information with another third party. But there's no reason why somebody that does not know me, whether maliciously or for business, trying to cold call me, should be able to have my name, address, and information without my knowledge and without my express consent. Cops, paramedics, investigators that are registered with the government and that are monitored for abuses of that system, yes, fine. Joe Blow Schmo, who's bored as fuck and just wants to know where Paul's ego lives so he can go camp out. Joseph Martelli wants to find out where Paul's ego is at. He thinks he thought my name, along with everybody else's, would be attached to the studio. He went looking for something with my name attached and found my home.
You assumed that he got that from Brett Keane, who had a friend that could access information that isn't accessible to the general public.
I presume that that's one of the ways he could have gotten it.
Yeah. Because he found it before you lived there.
No. He found it when I was living there. Okay. I lived almost exclusively. There was 2 months where I was living in Washington where I stayed with TJ. I don't even think it was 2 months. I think it was like a month and a half.
I guess I'm misremembering it. I thought you said that he had showed up before you got there.
Nope. He took pictures of the door that Ashley used to go in and out of every day to go across the street and work at Jamba Juice. took pictures of himself right there while we were living there because he thought it was the studio because he used my name. Right now, I don't know if it was Brett Keane that did it or taught him how to do it, but like you said, white pages is a thing.
That doesn't update immediately after you move.
No, I'd been there a couple months by the time this happened. I lived there over a year, and this was like the Joseph Martelli shit. I'd been living there for like at least 6 months when that kicked off. I mean, the first time was before I lived, but that was back in Ohio. He was a long stalker.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, like he got it that other time.
Later. Right. So he showed up at an Ohio meetup and and that was because he doxed Ben. He found Ben's address and started coming to his neighborhood, taking pictures at the grocery store that was in Ben's neighborhood and shit. Nice. Okay. Then he went on back to his business. Years later, everybody had moved to fucking Bellevue. I'm living in the same building that the studio is in. He goes looking on all our names, finds my application or whatever, or my residency change or whatever through the white pages or one of these places you can pay. I'd been there long enough. He thought, aha, there's the studio. Started taking pictures of himself outside of my building, and I'm living there. That crazy motherfucker should have had no path to finding out that personal information about me unless I shared it with him.
So you're saying private investigators shouldn't have it?
Private investigators are already registered agents with the government. You can't be a PI unless you're a registered private investigator. So they can make a request for that, and it is filtered and logged through a law enforcement agency. Yes. Private investigators, if you engage one, could get that. But private investigators should be checked. Right? They're not law enforcement people. So it's like private investigator that's registered with the government knows that their career is on the line if they are used as a tool of harassment. You're not allowed to just like, I want you to creepily take pictures of this woman. Find where she lives and take pictures of her. If you engage in that, your RFID access has all been logged, and that harassment campaign is easily exposed and prosecuted. See?
I just don't know if that's worth the cost of just disrupting the whole system of addresses.
It's a wild idea, I'll admit, but it would functionally end up protecting your privacy from average fucking malicious agents. And it really functionally wouldn't change the status of your privacy with law enforcement.
Then you'd be creating a whole industry that was trying to get around that on the black market or whatever.
Yeah, you would. But once again, another layer that an average dildo like Joseph Martelli probably wouldn't be able to functionally figure out.
Well, I mean, if he was obsessive, I feel like he'd figure it out.
Right. And how would he do that in an RFID world? By finding some way surreptitiously to send a request, which would be logged with a law enforcement agency. When did Joseph Martelli access this RFID information? How did he get it? All of that's logged. It's not just my word versus his now. Right?
But I mean, like, there would be an industry to hide those logs.
And the cops exist to take down black market industry. So yeah, you would have to break the law to surreptitiously get around it, and the cops could do an investigation based on the evidence trail of you making that request. Absolutely. Yep, there's going to be people that go like, you want to really find somebody, sign up for our shady shit. But that makes you touch something with your identity. You want to find somebody to fuck with them? Now you've touched it with your own identity. Or you've gone through some shady company that the cops can raid and find out who the client list was. Right? Right now, if somebody wants to stalk you from across the country because they become obsessed with you, All they got to do is just pay one of these fucking we've been living here for 4 fucking years. Your ass is known to every creep as long as they got your first and last name in the world. And even if they don't have that, they find out they know mine. They find out where I live, they find out where you live. You see what I mean? It's a hop, skip, and a jump for a fucking creep who has no business having any information about you to just get it. Because of the way we do. And it's actually, they use cops against you. People have been killed being swatted. Horribly dangerous thing. Why should somebody ever on the internet, because they want to fuck with you, be able to get access to that?
From swatting saying this person threatened this, and the cops look up your RFID because they heard a threat if they have your name, but maybe not your address.
It would give cops, okay, so there would be way more information, right? The cops would be able to see where you're calling from. All right, we're showing that this information is happening in Tampa Bay. You're calling from Guam.
But I mean, that doesn't stop them from, like, they can figure out where you're
But
calling
it gives
from
the cops a follow-up. How do you know this person? Why are you in Guam and they're in... How do you even know that this incident is going on?
Well, they would just say, like, oh, they made a threat online and they told me their name.
Okay. Yeah. Send the link. Provide the link.
So you're saying that no secured messaging apps, like...
If there's currently unfolding some sort of hostage situation that's being broadcast on Twitch or Kick or something, right? Should be a button you can hit that immediately has some authority figure take a look at what's going on, and then it's up to them to request that RFID information of who's streaming this from the company, and that company should have a fucking system that immediately responds to that request, and you're never involved.
But what stops people from not updating RFIDs, like moving in with a friend and fucking...
What stops people from doing that now? Nothing, right? Yeah. Eventually, right, in order to receive packages, vote, get a job, you have to have an address. Where are you going to tell people you live if you're just couch surfing? Eventually, you're going to have that person allow you to attach your RFID to their house if you want to receive mail or get a job.
Keep a PO box.
What?
Or you could just keep a PO box.
I think we get rid of fucking the whole need for a fucking PO box with this system. But yeah, I guess you could keep a PO box if you wanted. That's fine. The cops will know your RFID government issued thing, right? What is your number?
That's saying it's coming back to having an RFID on your person.
No.
In some way.
It's coming back to how are you purchasing things? And where are you purchasing things?
I'm just saying, like, you're adding more and more people that need to know this RFID information, which gives
Well,
more exposure.
No. Nobody at the store needs to know your RFID information. They don't get your address just because you're buying something. But it's logged, just like any other purchase is logged and filmed, right?
So you're saying no cashless society?
Absolutely. I don't know why there's still cash. It's retarded that there's still cash.
Because some bank accounts have, like, a minimum thing, and...
No, I get it, but, like, it's already a fiat currency. It's just an old way of paying for things. Yeah, cashless.
So, yeah, I don't understand your, like, competing motivations again of, like, less privacy, more privacy, less privacy, more privacy.
I don't really think it's all that competing, because what I'm saying is the people that you could make an argument need to have that information already do. So if we instituted this system, it would just make them able to find you quicker. And a lot of times you want them to be able to.
You can't make any untracked purchases.
Already can't.
But you can with cash.
There's not a record of a sale that happened at a certain time. There's not a video.
But I was just saying, like, you can't pay someone for something in cash and not have it registered somewhere.
Isn't that how people dodge taxes and shit?
But, like, a garage sale. You're saying that you need to collect the RFIDs of every single person that buys a $5 thing at a garage sale?
No, but that transfer is registered with the bank, right? So that person, instead of in a cashless society, it'd be tied to an app on your phone or whatever the fuck, right, in your watch. And you'd go like, oh, I want that at a garage sale. And they'd go like, all right, that's $10.
What if you don't want your bank to even know that?
Why?
Like, let's say you're
Hiding,
buying something that's not...
buying drugs?
Yeah. So you're saying that no one can buy drugs?
No, I'm saying that we need to legalize drugs and make them available so that we can track who's on them and when.
I feel like you're just adding so many more layers to make this one thing possible.
Well, the questions, like you're digging deep and you're asking esoteric questions about one little idea. But yeah, yeah. I'm not saying this is going to be something we could flip the switch on overnight, but I think we're heading towards it. We might as well talk about what it's going to look like, right? You won't be able to find the garage sale anyway because there's no way to know where it is. Well, like I said, a one-time use garage sale thing. So you find out about the garage sale. There's a QR code on the sign. You scan it with your phone. Embedded in that QR code is a one-time use navigational data for the yard sale. That's in, and you know it's in the neighborhood because it's on the sign. Boop, boop.
So it would just be functionally impossible to exist in the world without phones at that point, too.
Without some sort of digital identification device, yeah. Some sort of way for you to, like, purchase. That's already almost that way, right?
But would you want to do...
You can't go to, so let's say you want to get a hotel room. What's cash going to help you with that? Right? They want your fucking name and your credit card. They have to have it. Because if you do a crime in there, the cops need to be able to subpoena that.
You can't even get food without X, Y, and Z now. You can't.
What do you mean X, Y, and Z?
Like, you can't have cash to pay for food, so you have to have this account, and you can't receive money from people unless you have an account to receive money.
Sure. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Like, just...
Like, I'm just saying, like, yeah, you're right. It's, like, functionally closer and closer to not being able to exist in society without a phone. But do you think it's fair to add that one extra layer to make it impossible?
I don't know that it's necessarily fair, but I think that's the way it's heading. I think it's already functionally there. If you don't have a phone and you're living in the United States, unless you are self-employed in some weird way or independently wealthy or inheritance wealthy, I don't know what you're doing. Like, how are you living? Where are you working? What are you doing? Right? So it's already there. People that don't have access to phones, that's a roadblock to being able to exist functionally with your head above water in the society already. And it's a huge identifying broadcasting thing that the cops can see whenever they want to look at it.
Well, let's go back. Like, you've made the argument before that the voter ID can be unfair. This is basically that, but times 100.
How so?
Because, I mean, obviously, like, if it's difficult to get an ID now for certain people, that it would be just as difficult, if not more so, to get this RFID infrastructure.
I see what you're saying. I think this is going to roll out as optional. It already has. Cashless. Here's the thing.
The point of it.
What happened before? How did people pay for things before credit cards?
Cash.
Right. Cash or a checkbook. Right. Now, most people for incidental purchases, boop, boop, boop. You don't even have to slide the card and put in a code anymore. You just tap it. Boop, boop, boop. Right. That that's already become so ubiquitous in this society that certain places don't even take cash anymore. And their business flourishes.
But there's laws that some people are doing to counter that, to say that you can't not accept cash because of the...
I don't think it's... if it is between a fool and his money, I don't think any law is going to take root. that's going to functionally stop that from happening. People will find pass-throughs in counties that try and pass ordinances. Like, why would a state want to restrict commerce? Think about it.
Well, because they're thinking about the people that do deal with cash because they don't have a bank account. Like, let me just look up how many people are unbanked.
No. I understand the unbanking thing. I get it. I know. But why are we just ignoring that like it's a perpetual problem that can't be addressed? Like it's already functionally there, right? A wad of dirty $1 bills out of a tin cup doesn't get you shit anyway, right?
I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this.
No, I'm not asking you to agree. I'm just making the argument. Like, disagreement is cool. I'm fine with it. What I'm saying is we're already at a point where those people, look how they're living. Because they have to deal in dirty handfuls of change, right? Why don't we address that problem? Rather than just like go like cash has to stay around so that people can bum dollar bills and eat snacks from the 7-Eleven and do basic human subsistence with it. Why don't we just like address the need of for people to even be in that position, along with the giant upheaval that has to go with this move towards a cashless society?
How do you afford this whole new RFID infrastructure and address the problem at the same time?
How are you going to pay for it?
Yeah.
The same way that we're paying for bombs. You know what I mean? It's just like we stop funding genocide and we start funding infrastructure. You know, I hate to point it out, and I'm not arguing with you, by the way. We're having a good interchange that's representing two sides of an argument, right? And I will admit, too, you're on the logical side and I'm on the fanciful side of this, right? I'm trying to look at it from a futurist point of view. You're going like, how the fuck does that even get from here to there? And you're right, and that doesn't make me wrong. But I'm right, and that doesn't make you wrong, right? I think there's a position here somewhere between our two positions. Probably true, right? I'm a little more extreme. You're a little more grounded with 2 feet on the ground and no head in the clouds. Somewhere between the two of us, I think, is probably the truth, which is why I think this is smart. But like, look at what China has done, right? Over the last 50 years. Now, I'm not saying they've eliminated poverty. You go into rural China, what we would call the west of China, what they would call the east, right? Or wait, no, what they would call the west and what we would, no. Well, I'm fucked up on the globe. We would call it where Beijing is, the eastern coast of China from our perspective, right?
No, I mean, the compass is the compass.
So it flips.
No, it doesn't flip.
So it's north no matter what, but that's only on one. So
it's still west no matter what and east no matter what, too.
No, it's not. Journey to the west.
I'm just saying,
Journey to the west is about going east from the western part of China to India.
But I mean, like, functionally, if you have a compass, no matter where you're standing, it's going to show you north, south, east, west.
I'm retarded. Is all it is, because I cannot fucking understand that. For us, it's the west coast of China. For them, it's the eastern boundary of the empire.
No.
Yeah.
Because it's still west and east, no matter, like...
It's west from California. From us.
I mean, yeah, if you go all the way around...
West from California. No, straight. If you go straight off the west coast of California, you go functionally to China.
But that doesn't make it east inherently. It just means you went far enough.
Why do we call it the Far East?
Because
it's the far fucking west.
In relation to Europe. Most people aren't crossing the entire fucking Pacific.
So everything's about relating ourselves to where white people are.
Well, I mean, like...
That's what west is.
Traversing the Pacific was, like, basically impossible until recently, because it's so goddamn big.
Amelia's right, dude. All right. Fair enough. Point being, in China, they made the decision to do a lot of infrastructure investment. They built giant, absurd roadways and bridges that are functionally, like, the best in the world. They cleaned up and modernized their cities to the point where it looks something out of a cyberpunk movie, but without the crazy gang people running around. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy what they have done by infrastructurally investing in their big cities and stuff. America could do twice that with the money that we send overseas to kill the proletariat. If we took that money and invested it in roadways and transportation and revitalizing inner cities and functionally eliminating homelessness and establishing a baseline UBI for people that would be homeless, getting everybody that's born and migrates here registered so that they can receive that government benefit. Like, I know it's improbable, but it's entirely possible. Entirely possible. All it would take is a sea change in what is expected of a government by its people.
But I just don't know why you would add RFID on top of that to make it that.
Maybe it's not RFID. Maybe it's Bluetooth. Maybe RFID is just me using the wrong terminology. I'm talking about something that identifies you to people who need to know who you are, but keeps your functional privacy intact for bad actors, malicious sellers, malicious advertisers for being able to pinpoint exactly where you are just because you're on Twitter, right? Or they know your first and last name. I don't think you should be able to go like, Brad Johnson, and look up all the 500 Brad Johnsons and then use your little arcane energies to figure out which Brad Johnson it is because you watch his shit. You find out, oh, he must be the Kentucky Brad Johnson because the sun's still up, you know, or whatever the fuck. Fuck that. Why? Why is that a thing that you would ever want to exist in society? What function does that give me as a private citizen? That Joe Fucko, because he knows my name or because I've chosen to share my name, which is the only way I can identify myself in society. He goes, ooh, Paul Parkey. He finds out that there's like 10 or 15 of us in the United States. I happen to choose to like show the sky one time. It's like, why do I have to be Mr. Secrety and replace myself with an anime guy if I don't want you to know where I'm living?
But if you're already restricting all of that for this RFID infrastructure, why do you need to add the RFID infrastructure to restrict those tools?
What do you mean?
Like, you're saying like the problem is like white pages where you can pay $10 to figure out where someone lives.
They're
you
using
shut that down.
They're using access to your government registered address. So that's what these shady fucking websites are selling.
But I'm just saying, like, if you have to eliminate those websites anyways for the RFID infrastructure,
right,
why not just do that without adding all the RFID infrastructure?
Because that doesn't protect your privacy. You still have an address that can be doxed out. There's still a verbal thing that you can say, right? Now, if you could choose to say, I live in LA, what the fuck does that tell you if you're a psycho? Nothing, right? And if you choose to reveal where you live, so be it. Some people don't give a fuck. Cool. But me, I tell people I'm in Cali. I've told people I'm in Fresno. There's like 1 million people in this county. Good luck. Why should my name tell you where exactly I live in Fresno? What function does that give me? Because from a civic standpoint, I want to tell people what region of the world I'm in. You get to know exactly where I'm living, where my wife lives, where I keep my stuff. Why? If I want you to send me something, I'll give you my fucking address. That's how I look at it. Why should I want you, a private citizen, to ever be able to look that up because you're curious? Fuck you. Fuck your curiosity.
But, so you're saying that media should never have access to hold anyone to account by finding their address?
Yeah, fuck the meat. You're talking. So okay, wait.
So
what do you mean?
Saying, like, let's say a certain representative is fucking in the middle of an investigation for bribery or whatever.
Okay.
And they can't get a hold of them out in public or at their office, so they decide to go to their address
So they show up at the iron gates of their palatial estate and wait out there and hope that that person comes through in anything but a blacked out limo, then they get nothing out of. Like why do I need to see pictures of the media pretending they're doing something by squabbling outside the iron gates of an oligarch?
Well, what about protests? Like, let's say
Okay.
someone's fucking.
Isn't that dangerous?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm all for putting the fear in the politicians, right? But isn't, like, I know where this fucking politician lives, let's show up there with a mob. Isn't that, like, kind of something dangerous, really?
Well, I mean, like, I feel like you've defended that before.
I have, but I'm being honest with you. Isn't it dangerous? Would it be a sacrifice to protect your own privacy to extend it to them? Or, how about this? If you're registered with the government, no, you can see, because that just gives, nobody would ever agree to that. It would make you a second-class citizen which I like, as a government agent. It would make you second-class citizen. It would remove that right to privacy while you served. But who would ever vote that in, ever? So I'm willing to extend that privacy to Nancy Pelosi so that people can't show up outside of her house, right? If it means I get that privacy too. It's worth that sacrifice to me, because I really don't think it motivates Nancy Pelosi when a rabble accumulates outside of the gated community that she probably lives in, or whatever the fuck. She's got blackout limo that takes her to and from. Nobody's getting pictures. Nobody can get in close enough to get anything on her.
But yeah, like, I feel like that's already, like, the person that attacked her husband was a neighbor, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody that knew where they lived, and did she just happen to live near a psycho? Sorry, you can't really protect from that. Like, if we happen to live near a psycho and they want to crawl over the fence and break the window and shoot us both tonight, I mean, good luck. Maybe they get it, maybe they don't, but you can't stop that, right, with this. What it would help with is, like, you would have a non-identifying RFID number or whatever to give the cops to let you know, and you could tell them exactly which neighbor, right? Like, it's functional just like a fucking address from that perspective. It's registered. There are people that know it. In a perfect world, those are the people that are entrusted with accessing those systems, right? And not just Joe Blow Schmo. Will people abuse it? Yes. Do they abuse the current system? Fuck yeah, they do. So, I don't know. I see your point. It's a huge upheaval in the way things are done. And from a lot of perspectives, I even see the privacy argument. It almost eliminates some functions of privacy in order to preserve others. And maybe I'm allowing my status as a public figure, small as I may be, to influence my thought process on this, right? Maybe I'm more draconian with what I want to see, because I expose myself as part of my job to public scrutiny. And I think that's fine. I don't think it's fine for anybody that watches me and disagrees with something I say to use my address against me ever. Send me pizzas, send, escorts to my house knocking on the door. This is all shit that happens to people, right? That's bullshit. There's no public function for that, and my privacy should be protected up to a point. And I think addresses, have you ever liked the name of a street you lived on? Have you ever hated one?
No.
I've lived on some whack streets. My first address was Donald Avenue. Not a bad name, but it's not one that I would pick. And if I lived there now, I'd be like, right? Why do I have to be, if I want to buy a property, why do I have to be saddled with an absurd name that some fucking ancient coal miner back in the day named some Pisswater Creek that's near my shit? And now it's Pisswater Creek Drive. You know what I mean? Like, why? It's just lame.
I just don't see weighing the benefits with the downsides the same way you do.
I think you're just more pragmatic on it. Like, you're going like, you would have to change this. And I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking like, if we could fucking just look look into the future 30, 40, 50 years to where all these little things have been slowly but surely implemented. Probably pretty functional at helping people deal. Because, like, I'm telling you, the whole internet stalking, internet harassment shit, I'm not trying to be a little bitch about it, but I've seen how some people get this shit and how I'm not trying to be a fucking white knight, but how it is oftentimes really concentrated on certain people that have mental problems, right? It's going to have to be addressed. There's a kid the other day, I read a news story, we'll probably cover it next week or something, that killed himself because he had no friends because he was ostracized and he had an AI girlfriend. And it didn't tell him to kill itself, but it responded to his vagueness in a way that made him feel like that's what it was telling him to do. And he killed himself over it. That kind of social ostracization, like...
But how does making it harder and harder to find stuff address social ostracization? It feels like it's more insular.
Well, that socialization has moved online, right? Largely for a lot of kids, their friend group has expanded to people that live all over the globe and may not be who they say they are, right? That's wild. So this also like would tie in as a sea change in how we do things with my idea on the internet. Your access to the internet should be tied to this RFID thing, right? So that anybody, the dirt you do there is tied to your name, right? And if you're underage, you can't even access these websites. Why the fuck would you want a world in which an unsupervised 5-year-old can get on mom's tablet and look at booty pics on Twitter all day while mom doesn't pay attention? Like, what function does that provide in society? And how do you legislate shit parenting outside of restricting access? I think it unlocks a lot of good things. I think there are implications, not only from the pragmatic perspective that you give in the implementation of it and how costly and sweeping the change would be, but from a privacy perspective. But there are these things that I believe on the internet are not addressed. Harassment, children being exploited and accessible to predators, advertising to the same, right? Advertising and manipulating the minds of children through advertising and people against their will. All of this shit is happening now, and I think as it becomes a more forward societal problem, it will be addressed. And I don't know how, but I think that whole 3-account solution type of thing might be a functional way that we start talking about it.
I'm gonna go see if Dinor's hungry. He was too comfy earlier for me to even bother trying, but I'll see if he wants to eat now.
Yeah. I had one street that I liked. I won't say it because, people be weird. But I had one street that I liked. And it had a cool name, but that was it, dude. Every other street I've ever lived on, I've never been like, damn, yeah, I live over on fucking Twat Diddler Avenue. 2828 Twat Diddler, bro. Paul, what are your thoughts on Sparking Zero? It's good, but it's not like a fighting game good, It's good. I think it would be fun to play with some people and stuff, to like do some challenges against people, but it's not exactly a game that is going to reward all but the most skilled at it, and it definitely doesn't have the same rules as a fighting game and stuff. Yeah, Gaylord Road, bro. Fuck. All right, dude, I'm going to pull up. Where you live, homie? 2828. Uh-huh. Gaylord Road. No, seriously, where you live, homie? 2828 Gaylord, man. Are you serious, dude? You live on Gaylord Road? All right, man, I'm on the way. I'm going to pull up. Like, why? What function is that adding to your life, bro? Dude, I heard a wild story. Check this shit out. The Hawk Tua girl is suing the dude that made her rich. The dude that published the video that took her from local Alabama thought to instant millionaire celebrity, e-celeb fucking influencer overnight. She's suing that dude because she thinks she should own that video. Dude, the world is wild, bro. Because she wants to own the video. Her argument is it's her likeness that made the video, so she should own the rights. She wants to use it as part of her, like, branding. Give it that Hawk to. But if she wants to do that right now, she's got to pay the dude that made the video because he made the video. She wants to use what made her famous, and right now she can't without paying that dude. She's just going to sue him. But he put it up and made it. Hope he's got a good legal team. She's going to argue that it was an infringement on her privacy and her personal image that this dude made her an overnight sensation millionaire. You can't make it up, bro. You can't make it up. She got a lot of money, so she's right, yeah. I don't think dude that made the videos got anywhere near as much money to throw around as Hawk Tua does, so he's probably going to end up selling her the rights or some shit. Dude, this shirt is dope, dude. This is, I wear it year round, but like, I guess good Halloween season shirt, man. Zombie Pelosi, bro. I wish I could shout it out, but it was just it was an impulse purchase off of Facebook, bro. As boomer as that sounds. I seen it. I bought it. Give it that hook too, baby. It's the girl that got instantly millionaire overnight sensation famous because she spits on a penis before she sucks it. Is suing the guy that made her overnight famous because he was the one that filmed her talking about how she likes to spit on a penis before she sucks it. That's literally what's going on. Guys, it's a clown world, and we're all just honking along, man. That is wild. Dude, putting it that way, tell me that's not wild. Let me just say it again. A dude made a video where he's walking around a fair. He found a hot chick, and he asked her a relationship question. She goes, I like to spit on a penis when I suck it. The world goes nuts. She becomes an overnight millionaire. She files a giant world-ending lawsuit against the guy that filmed her saying she likes to spit on a penis because she wants to be the only one that ever profits from her saying at a fair that she likes to spit on a penis. Yeah, I don't know about the association. Clown world works to me. You know, I don't care that incels use it or whatever. I know right-wingers will use it too. Look, dude, the terminology stands. Give it that hot tail. You know what I mean? Millionaire. Am I a millionaire yet? If his channel is established enough, his YouTube content could be copyright material. That's what I'm talking about. But you know what the difference is, though? He's got money, or she's got money. Paul sued. I would like to apologize to the Hawk Tua girl. I should not have said Hawk Tua. That's right. I own Hawk Tua. You motherfucker. You're going to pay me $1 million every time you say Hawk Tua. I'm the only one that gets to say Hawk Tua. Anyway, I'm going to go chill out, get some breakfast in me, and prepare myself for the Tournament of Terror today, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. 24 combatants, all shooting for the crown. It's going to be wild. I'm not even going to tell you the names of the people that'll be there. It's going to be wild. 3rd annual Tournament of Terror, open to the public. Show up. See you there. Bye.